In the hollow where the shadows fall, we gather round, we hear the call. Liquid fire from the mountain's hand burns like truth, but it tastes like sand. Oh, it sure feels right at the end of the day. Drink it up, let the story stay. The creek laughs low, the fire cracks loud. We lose ourselves in a moonlit crowd. The air so thick it hums and sings, a slow dance wrapped in unseen strings, clear as glass, but it bites like a snake, sharp and cold, every breath we take. Oh, the stars know our sins tonight. Set that burn till the world spins right. The creek laughs low, the fire cracks loud. We lose ourselves in a moonlit crowd. The mountain whispers secrets deep, the kind you tell.
Every breath you take. Hello. I just thought I'd submit you to some torture of me singing. I do love that song. I sing along every time. Hello, and welcome. We have another exciting stream for you with Miss Brandy and Miss Taya, who's
Hello.
hello, lovely. And today we're focusing on BPS because it forms part of the whole circle in the corruption of Letcher County and surroundings. So it plays a big part in it, and it's used as a weaponized tool, basically, to control. And so we're going to break that down and share it.
It's a nationwide problem.
It is.
Family court, it's not just CPS, it's family court in general. It comes back down to the Title IV fund and how they're getting paid to interfere in our families and take our children away.
Yep.
So Ryan Matta did a wonderful documentary, and it's very comprehensive. It has a lot of details and covers a lot of different aspects of it from different perspectives, professionals and parents alike. And I thought that would be a good starting point to kind of give everybody an opportunity to educate themselves on what's happening.
Because where we left off was with Jen and Sabrina and the other defendant, with the attitude in their investigations of the FBI agent, the investigator, when he's questioning them, basically treating them or speaking to them differently than he did to Ben Fields. And he played down the charge or the behavior or activity or abuse to the women and treated it like it was a relationship, and basically insinuated that, well, did you participate?
Like there could possibly be some sort of consent there.
Did
like,
you say
regardless
no? Did you cut him off? It doesn't matter if they didn't verbally say no, because the actual abuse of the power is that he is in that position of power, and there shouldn't even be consent. It's like,
no matter.
It's correct.
It happened. That shouldn't happen.
So that's why. That's where we've led in from to here. So we're going to share this documentary. It's called Never in America. So thank you, Ryan Matter. Shout out to him. And
For sure.
if you
he's a wealth of information. If y'all ain't following him, he's on X and Rumble. I think he does have a YouTube channel too, but a lot of people have been going through some censorship issues with YouTube when it comes to this trafficking, child trafficking, stuff. So if you want to catch the unedited raw material,
I'll
check out
I'll grab
X
his link
and Rumble.
in the chat.
They're not censored over there.
I'll grab it and put it in the
So
chat.
I'm ready whenever you are.
If you want to stop at any point, just wave at me and I'll stop it so you can talk. All right, my lovelies.
I'm going to put my mic on mute and have me a snack while we watch.
Yep, cool ad. Look at that transition. Magic. All righty, let's do it. Now, I haven't seen this, so it's
it's never that smooth. Whenever I do it, every time I try, it's like, nope, let's glitch out.
I had it set. I had it set, ready to go.
You did great. Okay.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Let me know that you can hear it. And what else was I going to say?
Okay, I'm going to put my screen up on full screen too when we check the sound.
All right. So I haven't seen this, so it's a blind reaction from me.
It's the greatest fear of parents to have their child taken from them. How in the world does it happen by force at the point of a gun?
We're not going to screw with you. Get out of the car.
Hey, you can't use me.
Give me the baby, okay?
I can't.
This one really made my stomach sink.
I can't even believe this story.
Cyrus, the 10-month-old baby who's been kidnapped, stripped from his loving parents by CPS.
No, go in the car.
Cyrus.
In the car. It's all right. It's okay.
Cyrus.
It's okay. It's all right.
Cyrus.
Brandy, get you some tissue.
Anybody to have to endure this.
The Baby Cyrus case was the second most viral case in American history regarding CPS.
The media is not really covering this because this is, in fact, medical kidnapping.
They claim that Baby Cyrus was underweight.
The kid has lost weight.
Take the baby away.
Get the baby out with CPS to the foster parents.
They were willing to release baby Cyrus to a foster family.
I won't let him go.
It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers.
There's billions of dollars to be had just from the federal government if you take the kids out.
They are profiting off of it.
There's nothing more evil, there's nothing more wicked than what I call child profiting systems.
Once a child is legally kidnapped, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse.
The most dangerous place to be for a child is in the government custody.
He literally has missed out on his childhood because of this.
In 10 months, I've never seen my grandson like this ever.
They just didn't even properly care for him.
It just looked like he was half dead.
That's the care that these animals are saying.
Protesters taking sides in a child welfare case.
We need more people out here. We need more people to stand for this.
I was extremely naive, and I thought there's no way that my son would be taken from me.
These are this just happens
in my region. Every instruction they were told, and they're
sorry.
Y'all remember seeing it on the news? The medical kidnapping and stuff on the news. I remember seeing it.
You know, to be honest, I avoid the news.
So do I.
I really do. I honestly do, because it's just got to the point. It's just so upsetting. It's like, I get so wound up about everything, you know, so I have to limit my my doom and gloom for, you know.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
being treated like criminals.
These parents, trapped in the system, become like refugees. They do not know what to do, and the loss of their children is devastating.
No man lives in freedom if you live under the constant threat of your child being taken away from you by force.
I'll do anything for Cyrus, for my son. I'll do anything for him.
I've seen this so many times. I can't be that next person. I can't.
Oh, I'm going to need the tissues, aren't I? Felix.
These are our kids. These are our neighbors. Not somebody else's kids. They're all our kids.
Please, right now. Please let me go home right now. I need to be home. My family.
There's no such thing as someone else's child.
Please let me go home. Judge Johnson and Governor Patrick, please.
The state needs to be the ultimate guarantor of a child's well-being. There's just no alternative to that.
And just please do it. Please do it. You can do it.
The reason parent-child relationships exist is because the state confers legal parenthood on people through its paternity and maternity laws. It's the state that is empowering parents to do anything with children, to take them home, to have custody, and to make any kind of decisions about that.
My baby is days old, and you're taking my baby away from me. You're taking my baby away from me. You have no heart. This is so wrong.
You cannot stay in my house, break in my house, and just take out my kid out of my arms.
Come on, hey, this my kids deserves it.
Please, please ask this man to give me my child. Please ask this man to give me my child. Calm down. I am a nursing mother.
We bring social workers into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children.
All I really want to be with is with my family and my friends, and that's all I want is just to be with my family and friends back home where I want to do it right now. You can do it. You're the one that's judging this.
Get off, Felix.
This is one of the most screwed up parts of the United States. Parents have no rights. Parents have no right.
America, what if I told you that the federal government crafted a vile incentive scheme, letting states rake in profits by ripping children from their loving parents' arms, bankrupting those families, and wielding lawfare to silence their desperate cries for justice? Would you believe me, or would you call me a conspiracy theorist?
Child Protection Services is legally kidnapping their children.
It's not a service organization at all. It is a quasi-law enforcement prosecutorial agency, and all the funding goes to removing children.
The Adoption and Safe Families Act and other budgetary incentives and bureaucratic quirks effectively place a bounty on the heads of children suitable for adoption.
It's a for-profit scheme. The more kids, the more money.
Their agencies get additional money. The family court gets additional money.
I was ordered by the judge not to speak to the media.
When you have secrecy and unchecked power, you have a recipe for corruption and abuse.
They are incentivized to essentially traffic these children.
America, what if I told you that Child Protective Services is operating the world's largest government-backed, taxpayer-funded child trafficking network, and the very system designed to safeguard our children are the ones robbing them of their futures?
I was depressed most of my life. I was sad because of
Maya.
what Child Protective Services has done to my life.
You traumatized me. That's what I was telling you about.
It's immoral.
CPS is the only state agency with the power to walk into any family.
Do you remember me saying, did you see that case called Take Care of Maya? That was her.
Yeah, and I was curious about it. I didn't know what it was.
Yep, that was her. That was part of her court case. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'll look into it later. I have a daughter named that.
She was medically, well, she was kidnapped pretty much and medically kidnapped and kept there, taken off her parents. Yeah.
Is home at any time and remove children.
We're CPS. We don't need a warrant.
This is something that happens far too frequently. CPS oversteps its...
That is that's the social worker there that was taking care of her, and she pretty much told Maya that she was her new mother. And the other Sally, the other bitch there was the CPS worker who took them off. She didn't introduce herself when she came in to assess her. Didn't tell the parents who she was. Just came in for half hour, and that was it. Bang, no rights.
Bounds in the best interest of the children. That's a catchphrase that's used by CPS to justify any action that they take.
There's so many incentives that are financial, but there's a lot of other illicit stuff that happens.
Pay attention to the price tags. Randy, you pay attention to the price tags too. Like, it's not just to CPS. CPS is not the only place that's getting paid for our kids. Y'all got to realize that whenever they're showing these prices, $50,000 to a clinic, why would they need to pay a doctor $50,000? Why would Title IV need to pay a doctor $50,000?
We've got a whole conversation that we can have about the years I was a foster parent.
Yeah.
That I haven't even talked about.
Yeah, that's what this is going to be a whole big segue.
The state would have these things called I don't know. They'd have some quirky little name to it, but basically they'd have the most hardest to adopt family groups of kids, right? And they did. They had price tags on them. You know, like what you got monthly by taking this.
The harder they were, the higher the price.
Aren't they priced by like age, disability,
race, if they're a troublemaker, you know, they're on
the price.
And for I was married to a nurse, fragile one. You know, the ones that was that's why I'm got my off, because I know I'm going to be balling through it, because you know I told you how I felt. About them years. Them years was the hardest years of my life, because really seeing how bad people are, you know, because these kids would come in my home and tell me what the previous foster parents were like and what was going on, and you would report it and report it and report it, and
You're
nothing.
Still close with some of your foster kids, ain't you?
Oh, very, very, very close. They still call me mama. They still call me if they need me. They, you know, so yeah, I've got baby ducks out there everywhere. So, but in my home, they wasn't treated that way, you know. And then when what happened, you know, that's why I was the first to say something to stop it.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, and it threw
my
life out.
Your role of protector.
Yeah. And then, you know, but me and the kids paid the price for it. You know. So, but yeah, so that's why I've got my thing off, because I figured I'd be crying. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I can tell.
Snack and such.
That's the thing about this, is that, you know, my life has been so crazy, I guess, and I've been put where I've been put at the moments I'm supposed to be, I guess. And so, you know, I can tell you pretty much every side of every coin. You know, at one time or another, I've kind of done it, been around it, you know. So that's why
I think we're both uniquely qualified for this kind of thing.
Unfortunately,
we have so much degrees. We've been through so much shit with all these different systems, with all these different types of people.
Well, the universe has gave us a doctorate. The universe has gave us a doctorate degree in ass kicking lessons. So, you know, but yeah. As far as one to hang on the wall, no, we don't. You know,
right?
They made sure we didn't get those. So,
all right.
The social workers in America and in Europe took hundreds of thousands of children from Christian families and gave them to pedophiles.
All of the child services agencies that initially started out in the service of children becomes an organization that is in fact hunting children.
2013, 2014.
Our children are the targets, and millions of people in government, education, our healthcare systems, our child protective systems are complicit in the agenda.
Pedophilia is how the deep state recruits and controls people.
From the powerful elites down to otherwise ordinary men, children are easily being bought and abused around the world.
500,000 kids per year are removed by this child trafficking organization from their parents.
Many disappear and never are ever heard from again.
Once the public realizes that the government is not protecting their children, then everything else about the government is called into question.
That's a very good quote.
We would know virtually nothing about what's going on at our southern border were it not for independent journalists and grassroots filmmakers.
Ryan Mata, he's the investigative journalist behind ThisIsTreason.com.
Ryan Mata and his team, his editing team, created what I believe is a unicorn, never to be seen, has never been seen, and will never be seen again.
But he released it, and it's called What is Treason? Trafficked.
It is the most powerful piece of filmmaking I have ever seen.
By the way, was really well done.
If everybody were to watch a documentary, What is Treason? #Trafficked. If everybody watched that, all 300 plus million Americans, Trump would win like this. I don't know why it's not the number one issue. I every time I come back from an operation, I'm just like incensed when I read the news, like what made the headlines. The headlines every day should be millions of kids are enslaved and the United States is driving the market with their policies.
My work revolves around rescuing sex-trafficked children. The only way to combat this evil is sunlight. We must expose the system that allows these monsters to stay hidden in the shadows. America is the #1 consumer of child porn, and we have more agents working in the PR department at every FBI field office than we do hunting down these predators who are selling child porn on the internet. I wonder why America is the #1 consumer of child rape.
It is as sinister as it gets. People buying or selling children for sex.
An awful situation now.
To really drive this fact home, last year, Alex Rosen, one man, was able to expose 248 pedophiles. The entire FBI only arrested 1,408, meaning one man with the right resources could take down more pedophiles than the entire FBI. This is why I need your support. I've dedicated the last 3 years of my life to exposing this evil. Over the past 8 months, I've released 6 full-length Netflix-quality documentaries showing how the United States government is running the world's largest government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking syndicate. I cashed out $100,000 of my 401k to undertake this mission, turning me into the most censored filmmaker in America. I am permanently banned on LinkedIn, demonetized on 3 YouTube channels, had 3 Instagram accounts deleted, lost 2 Twitter accounts, and I'm on my 12th TikTok account. The censorship industrial complex has cut off every source of funding that I could use to generate income. I placed my first film behind a paywall. We made over $125,000 in sales, but the film didn't reach the masses. I need to give these films away for free to wake up the masses and save these children. It was God who sent me on this mission. Now I'm asking you for help to continue God's mission. Please visit givesendgo.com/Ryan Meta Films and support this cause. For $100,000, we can continue to operate for an entire year producing 4 more documentaries. For $1 million, my voice would become so loud that I could force this administration to undertake radical reform and bring home
what was the name of that website?
Children in America.
We know that
there
was upwards to over 300.
Won't let me get back. Hang on.
Sorry, you don't have to rewind it. I don't want to
sinister
interrupt
as
it.
it gets. People buying or selling children for sex.
An awful situation now.
To really drive this fact home, last year, Alex Rosen, one man, was able to expose 248 pedophiles. The entire FBI only arrested 1,408, meaning one man with the right resources could take down more pedophiles than the entire FBI. This is why I need your support. I've dedicated the last 3 years of my life to exposing this evil. Over the past 8 months, I've released 6 full-length Netflix-quality documentaries showing how the United States government is running the world's largest government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking syndicate. I cashed out $100,000 of my 401k to undertake this mission, turning me into the most censored filmmaker in America. I am permanently banned on LinkedIn, demonetized on 3 YouTube channels, had 3 Instagram accounts deleted, lost 2 Twitter accounts, and I'm on my 12th TikTok account. The censorship industrial complex has cut off every source of funding that I could use to generate income. I placed my first film behind a paywall. We made over $125,000 in sales, but the film didn't reach the masses. I need to give these films away for free to wake up the masses and save these children. It was God who sent me on this mission. Now I'm asking you for help to continue God's mission. Please visit givesendgo.com/Ryan Meta Films.
Let's link that, Jody. Let's put that in the comments. I'll do it. I can do that. I'm trying to take notes and stuff too for these other films and like the Operation Amber Alert, Save the Children, I want to look into this stuff later on. Yep. I keep telling like everybody, this is all connected. And like, I know it's hard to see. This is something I run into often with ADHD is somebody will be talking about goats. And then all of a sudden I'm talking about ice cream trucks on Thornton. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, did you just have a total glitch? Like, how did you end up there? And it's the connections, you know, like I'm good at pattern recognition and making connections that other people don't always see. So like his work covers a lot of the same things that me and Brandy have been studying for years.
Mm-hmm.
And how we keep saying it's all connected. It's all connected. It all comes back to the same fucking like one big group of evil. It's demonic in nature. Like this is just going to lead right into that. So.
Hello, Mr. Udahef. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And
we got somebody here.
We've got Sister Kathleen.
I can't
Welcome.
see.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I had my screen on big. I couldn't see the comments or anything. Okay. Let me get over here so I can see what's going on.
We'll just do this.
Hello, everybody that I've not said hello to yet. Sorry, I've been in the zone.
Hello and good morning or good afternoon or whatever time it is.
All the people claiming Trump was going to solve human trafficking, Trump reassigned virtually all of the FBI staff who were working on child trafficking cases.
Because there's more to it than what most people realize. We've only skimmed the surface. Yeah. And so that's what we were talking about earlier is my daughter messaged me and she was like, Mom, why did the FBI just say that the pedophilia is not the biggest problem? I said, baby, because it's not. That's not the greatest evil in our world.
And that's pretty.
There's a lot more to this. Trump is fighting literal demons. He is executing literal demons. The things that these people were doing, they're not human. So you've got all these people that are like in the Epstein files and stuff, right? It's not that they're going to get in trouble. It's that they've got to be arrested. They have to do it in a way. They can't just release the files and then have all these fucking criminals running around doing what they want. They have to go about it in an intelligent manner so that they get to arrest these people and charge them. Like you can't just drop a file with unredacted names with ongoing investigations. Those files are going to be released. All the redacted stuff will be unredacted. It's still an operation in progress. Mm-hmm. It's not over. And the pedophilia, as bad as it is, and being a victim of pedophilia and a sexual assault survivor, like I'm the first one to say, like, yes, pedophilia is bad. That's what I fought for, is to save our girls. But there's so much more to it that most people are not grasping yet. It's so much worse. It's so much worse than you all know.
Is Ryan Matter a Trump supporter?
Yes, I think so. He kind of goes back and forth. He goes with the facts. You know what I mean? But now he's been brought up.
Not a political thing for him, more.
So we need to do a deep dive probably on him too in the future, mm-hmm. and see like where that goes from. Mm-hmm. It's not that his friends will get in trouble. Like I understand, like people say things like that. Like, but I mean, where are they supposed to say they can't get on people waiting execution. There's still 500,000 sealed indictments that haven't even been unsealed yet. There are still arrests happening in the deep state, meaning the states, judges, lawyers, attorneys, CPS workers. That stuff is still active. Like those are active, ongoing military operations right now. These people are being arrested as we speak. So, like, I don't know. I still believe in Trump.
Brandy, have you got your laptop
He's not protecting criminals. He is trying to arrest. He's the only one that has done anything to help us. He's the only one that reported. He was the only one that has tried to do anything about the human trafficking. Nobody else has listened to us. They don't take our calls. They hang up on us when we call the Attorney General, call the FBI, they hang up, or they just ignore it, or they send somebody to fucking stalk and harass you. Trump is the only motherfucker we've ever had to fight for us. Like, he's the only one that's trying, you know? If you read the rest of the files, you'll realize that what he did to those young girls, those reports were made, which I don't want to make this episode about Trump. It's not about Trump. But the reports that were made on the election year in 2016 by an anonymous victim. They never could even track down the victim. Like, you got to read the whole files. You can't just read like the sensation parts. You have to go into it. He's been working as a top agent to help bust all these people since before 2008, since like 2004 or 2006 was the first time he reported Epstein. Epstein was convicted in 2008, and it was because of Trump that he was convicted. That's all in the files too. And now there are some things that I don't agree with, like how Megyn Kelly is saying, like she went on and said, she was like, well, Epstein, it's just he just like it's just statutory. It's not like he's a pedophile. Like she's saying these things. I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? What the fuck does that mean? But then when you get into the files and you start really reading and really understanding all the aspects of it, it's in our school. It's in our I mean, not just the school, but the colleges. Like they have every aspect of society. And it's used in the judicial to kidnap our kids into the system. Like it's so much work.
All right. Shall we continue?
Now, Ghislaine Maxwell, I think that Ghislaine Maxwell is going to end up being worse of a monster than anybody ever could have anticipated. Whenever that all comes out, like, you want to talk evil. That bitch is fucking evil. You know, like, apparently Epstein, that was something that rabbit hole I dove into earlier. I was like, why was Epstein getting FBI briefings? Why was he receiving emails from the FBI about what all they're doing and stuff? And there's multiple emails how he talks about Trump was coming after him. Trump's onto us. He knows what we're doing. Like he's going to be the death of us. Hillary Clinton herself. Hillary Clinton said, if he gets elected, well, I'll be hanging from nooses. That's why, because this is bigger than just the pedophilia. As bad and horrible as sexual assault and pedophilia is, that's the least of our fucking problems, y'all. Mm-hmm. Our government has been doing horrible, horrible things to us. Hi, Ron. Or Rita. I thought that said Ron. I seen the R pop up. I hadn't seen Ron in here in a while. Hi, Rita. I'm gonna
Hi.
What was that? Ready? The laptop and the phone. You just need to mute one of them.
I cannot figure this out. Okay.
That's better. No. You don't have to mute yourself. Just one of these.
Okay.
Something that here he said this about exchange for her lying about Trump. If you realize she just pled the fifth, and if you pay attention, that's not Ghislaine Maxwell. I do not believe for a hot second that the woman that got on the stand yesterday and said, I plead the fifth, is Ghislaine Maxwell. Really? Not even the woman that's in like the constant video surveillance of her jail cell doesn't even look like the real Ghislaine Maxwell. Something else is going on. There's something bigger that we've not caught yet. They just released 3 million more files, though, I reckon.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a point here, right here. He said the problem is that if you're rich and powerful, they let you do it. The DOJ doesn't stop you. That's exactly it. Like it's become so normalized.
Yep.
And whenever you really get into those files, what they were really been doing to these people and how they get them, my mind is blown. Like I can't stop reading. Like I've got a headache from reading so much. I can't stop. It's just like one thing after another. And like I knew about a lot of the things, like because I've been a conspiracy theorist for a long time. I've been labeled crazy, batshit. She's woo woo. Oh my God, who eats babies? What the fuck? Like lots of people. But that's just it, is that we're not fighting humans. We're fighting principalities. This is spiritual. This is God versus Satan. And like, yeah, Epstein sucked. Ghislaine's a monster. They're all fucking monsters. But who's the real monsters? Who is it that's teaching your children about sex at the age of 5? Who is it that's telling your kids? Who is it that's telling us that the age of consent is 16, 14, if your parents approve? Because that's not true. That's not real. But that's what we've been told our whole lives here in Letcher County.
Yeah, we discovered that the other day, didn't we?
Yeah. It's not real. It's not true. Age of consent is 18. But they've lied to us since we were children. We're going to get into my emancipation and stuff eventually, too. I want to take us a deep dive down that, how that happened. Yeah. How I ended up being considered an adult at the age of 15.
Mm-hmm. That's all part of the grooming from
part of it. Part of the grooming.
Most of our grandparents were married by the age of 12.
Yeah, my mom married 22-year-old
13.
She was pregnant or had her first baby by 14. And we were told this was normal. This is how it's supposed to be. And we're not talking about 1920. About 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. They were telling us. Approach me and say, it's a different time. It was a different time.
Yeah.
You're him. I'm grateful for him louder, but that doesn't anyway.
Can you not hear that?
It's probably still something.
I don't know how to fix it. Is it still doing it?
No. It's to do with
it's Brandy's mic and my mic. Feedback.
No.
Okay.
We're getting feedback when Brandy turns her mic on. She's picking up on her behind her your voice, so she must have two.
She probably has another device running still. I bet she didn't close her phone yet.
She just needs to. Click on the mute button. Just right mouse click into the tab, and it will say mute. That's all you got to do on the laptop.
Yeah.
And then you won't get that feedback. And she's gone. Oopsie. All right, we're going to get into this because it's a lengthy 10 minutes in.
Support this cause. For $100,000, we can continue to operate for an entire year producing 4 more documentaries. For $1 million, my voice would become so loud that I could force this administration to undertake radical reform and bring home over 50% of the kidnapped.
Respectful parents out there? Yes. Is it
We get nothing.
good? You can hide.
Silenced.
It's been the norm.
0% good is much easier to detect. So there's going to be some percent good that they add in there, but it's like it might be 5% or 10% good, but 95% not.
So if you put something out there that has something that's a little bit good, you can hide a huge mess of wickedness behind it. People don't like nuance. They don't like detail. They want everything to be good or everything to be bad. There's a good guy and a bad guy. There's not a good guy who has bad parts to him. That's too complicated. Or a bad guy who has good parts. Oh, that's too complicated. Don't mess with the nuance. I want just the good and the bad, black and the white. People don't like the gray because that's where things get hidden.
I mean, there's corruption. They've saved millions of lives.
Show me anywhere where USAID has had a positive effect on international aid. It just doesn't. Because it's just going to corrupt foreign leaders.
I mean,
even if USAID is going to be slimmed down, it's a fantastic organization, and it's so tragic if we stop that.
And Bill Gates has given away a lot of money. He's saved probably 100 million lives. Distribute anti-HIV drugs, malaria drugs, education for girls. Elon Musk will probably cost 20 million lives from the cuts that he's made on USAID when he was head of Doge.
This is the playbook. Build a system too big to question, too sacred to touch. Hide the rot behind noble missions and patriotic seals. And when the cracks start to show, bury them.
What my team and I encountered was absolute obstruction and lies coming out of USAID. They did everything possible to stop me from accessing their records to understand where our taxpayer money was going.
12 cents of every dollar was reaching the recipient.
That means that in order for us to get, aid to somebody, we had to spend all this other money supporting this foreign aid industrial complex.
When they said, oh, well, this is going to help children, or it's going to help some disease eradication or something like that. And then when we asked for any evidence whatsoever, I said, well, please connect us with this group of children so we can talk to them and understand more about their issue. We get nothing, because what we find is an enormous amount of fraud and graft.
Well, 4 people are pleading guilty, all part of a $500 million bribery scandal involving USAID.
The scheme, spanning a decade, involved $550 million in federal contracts through a Small Business Administration program.
But here's the problem. Walter Barnes III, the man who founded one of these companies that got the cash, was a known con man, and the government knew he was shady for years, even before they gave him all the money.
USAID is a blueprint, a case study in how deeply corruption can run when power goes unchecked. But it's not the end of the story. It's just the beginning, because there's a machine far darker, far more insidious, and it's operating in plain sight. A system that doesn't just betray a nation, it preys on the most vulnerable among us. Child Protective Services, also known as CPS.
And this is how they've sold people what I call the CPS myth. What is the CPS myth, Diego? The CPS myth is that CPS is an institution and an organization that is one of the best parts of our government that exists to protect children from abusive or neglectful parents. Because is it true that there's neglectful parents out there? Yes. Is it true that there's a percentage of parents out there who are abusive? Yes, it is. I've dealt with them. I've seen it firsthand. I've put some in jail. So I know it for a fact. It's real, it's true, that exists, and I think everybody knows that. And if we can point to the fact that CPS is an organization that saves those babies from that, oh, it's this great organization. And that's how they hide their wickedness. They hide it behind that facade.
I'm living proof that independent living services can make a difference.
They put out this minor story here and this minor story there.
These young people here should give us all a lot of courage. They represent out of the most difficult circumstances.
And sure, you can point to the child that was taken away from the parent who was abusing him.
After dealing with an abusive situation at home, I entered the foster care system and then was permanently removed from my family. I found many supports along the way.
And you can point out the child who was taken away from the drug addict parents. And you can point to the family who was a foster care family who raised a child when the child was an orphan or something like that. And they love to point that stuff out.
Dude, that fucking bitch.
They are a shining example of how we grow.
These are all real acts. They're undeniable, they're tangible, and they're just enough to keep this little myth alive, dangling scraps of good to distract you from the venom as it courses through their system.
Because that protects. For every, one child that they saved, there's 80 or 90 children who were kidnapped and abused and molested and hurt and harmed that were part of literally a government subsidized child trafficking organization.
Go ahead and let them go. Please let me go, man. They abuse them in the foster care. They abuse.
We're taking kids from places that aren't that bad, putting them in places that aren't that good, and completely leaving out of the equation the bond between the parents and children.
And it's all driven by money.
These work so well, we actually ran out of money to reward the states.
All of the taking of the children that is going on right now.
They can take your kids away right now if they want to and get away with it.
People who aren't accountable to anybody probably are going to make some mistakes.
This agency has completely run amok, harassing families who are completely innocent.
It destroys lives. It bankrupts people every day. It tears children from their homes and just so happens to be a $50 billion a year industry.
Is Child Protective Services just an official government kidnapping ring?
Basically, yes.
Now, if you expose this stuff, they'll try to kill you.
Over the past decade, every celebrity, politician, or independent journalist who tried to expose this satanic child trafficking enterprise has turned up dead.
Senator Nancy Schaefer from the state of Georgia, our neighbor to the north, she uncovered the same thing you've uncovered, the same thing we uncovered.
I wrote a scathing report entitled The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services. The report cost me my Senate seat.
Senator Nancy Schaefer of Georgia's 50th District was set to release her documentary called The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services in 2008.
they had just financed the movie documentary about all these children being wrongfully scammed by CPS.
This Georgia state senator was planning to present her discoveries to the International Criminal Court when she and her husband were found shot dead in their home.
The bodies of former state senator Nancy Schaefer and her husband Bruce were found today at their Habersham County home. Investigators say both had been shot.
Preliminarily, it looks to be a murder-suicide.
Based on evidence that doesn't add up that way, that Bruce Schaefer shot his own wife in the back, one shot, then turned the gun on himself like this, which is kind of awkward to do, with an unlicensed gun that wasn't registered to anybody when he had a registered gun in his house available to him. That apparently is what the Georgia Bureau of Investigation wants us to believe.
The GBI labeled the incident a murder-suicide. Case closed. If she was a U.S. senator, what do you think they are planning to do to me?
A mysterious twist in the death investigation of a government whistleblower.
Wade was warned to be careful.
Investigators are backtracking.
From Seth Rich to Isaiah Cappy to John McAfee, one by one, they took them all out.
This is real shit. Some guy got killed.
John McAfee had been very vocal about the fact that the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and perhaps other governmental organizations were involved in human trafficking and even the sex trafficking of children.
We don't want to get killed by them either.
Go kill some Americans.
How is it so many people close to them died?
What difference at this point does it make?
You like to text underage girls, sending pictures of your dangling? That's your reputation.
The Anthony Weiner laptop. Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it.
9 police officers that on record saw it
Literally had to go throw up. They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing. It's bad.
Conspiracy theory, right?
The New York police officers
all died.
We came, we saw.
Working police officers that work at the CU unit all the fucking time and deal with the worst sex crimes of humanity. And they committed suicide after seeing what was said on
that you are studying the Adoption and Safe Families Act. And you know what happened? The number of children adopted more than doubled. Meaningful progress for our country and particularly for our children.
The Adoption and Safe Families Act, we have got some now guidelines that we have to move children through the system somewhat faster than we ever did before.
Our government and all governments have traditionally deferred to the family and said, how you raise your children within certain limits is up to you. At what point does the state step in? And at what point does the state say, I'm sorry, you're doing a terrible job?
There comes a point when the state must terminate a parent's rights if it's in the child's best interest.
But once we do that, then we have to provide the professional resources for these kids.
Child Protective Services isn't just broken. It's a government-subsidized trafficking empire, raking in billions while shredding families into pieces, fueled by federal funds like the Adoption and Safe Families Act.
I've seen this guy before somewhere. Maybe he was interviewed on Joe Rogan or something, but I've seen his face. It's familiar.
Yeah,
It makes caseworkers put their
everywhere.
Okay.
feet to the fire and do their jobs a little faster than they otherwise would have. It makes court schedule cases we hear cases now every 3 and 6 months for review.
Do you really want to court a government institution to tell you how to raise your kids?
Caring for children is a business. Business has a bottom line.
And why is it that your agency formulates a business plan?
From the direction of the board.
The board of supervisors.
The board of supervisors, all departments, all kind of departments have to develop a business plan.
And that's because the county wants the social services agency to be treated like a business, right?
Right. They want accountability.
Financial accountability.
Financial as well as practice, and yes, like a business.
CPS operates on a perverse profit motive. The more children they seize, the more cash flows.
So how did this all come about? Where does it all come from? It all started in 1974. In 1974, the United States government passed a law called CAPTA. And CAPTA essentially gave the federal government the power and authority to take children away from their parents. But CAPTA was essentially teethless because there was no funding apparatus for it. There was no mechanism to fund it. So basically they said, we're going to give people the opportunity, we're going to give states the power to take children away when they're being abused. But guess what, states? You're going to have to pay for it. So if the state itself had to pay in order to take a child away from its parents, well, how often do you think they did it? The answer is only in the most egregious cases. Like if there was literally true abuse, then the state says, we got to take that kid away. And the state would have to find a way to pay for it. Well, that all changed in 1997. 1997, your best friend, Hillary Clinton, championed the ASFA law, the Adoptive Safe Families Act, signed by Bill Clinton.
The Adoption and Safe Families Act, it fundamentally alters our nation's approach to foster care and adoption.
The national government does have an important role to play in reforming our foster care system.
It will provide states with financial incentives to increase the number of children adopted each year.
And to move children more quickly into safe and permanent homes.
So, Mr. President, as you sign the Adoption and Safe Families Act of 1997, I believe the future of all America's children and their families become a little brighter.
And this act essentially took the existing law of CAPTA, put more teeth to it, and created a funding mechanism for it. And here was the secret, dirty little trick they pulled on this. They didn't create a new tax. They didn't create any new taxing mechanism where people would have to make a determination, oh, do we really want to pay for this or not? They simply sucked the money right out of Social Security.
I'm pleased that this bill also authorizes additional funds that program needs, because it is working.
Funding is available when a child is placed in a foster home with strangers.
$29.9 billion annually goes to the states from the federal government to reward them for taking these kids.
These work so well, we actually ran out of money to reward the states.
You want to know it's bankrupting Social Security.
So this law, ASFA, requires a recoding or a rewriting of the Social Security Act in order to create funding mechanisms out of Social Security to pay for CPS, foster care, and adoption nationwide.
So it,
Randy, that's why your Social Security got cut.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Pulling the other program to steal our children.
Yeah. It's sad. Actually, Tyre, have you got two devices on? Because that came up with you then, that echo.
What?
No, that's better.
I don't, why is our mics doing that? I don't understand. I don't know. Sorry.
Have you got two things on or not?
No. No, Brandy's is muted. It's anytime both of our mics are unmuted at the same time. I don't know why it's having interference. We're not even in the same town.
No, but Brandy's mic is picking up you in the background from the stream. So your voice is coming through twice.
Brandy, do you have another show? Do you have it playing on another channel or in another window maybe?
No, not unless I haven't shut it down off the laptop, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it was done, and I jumped from the laptop to the phone because it was done. Yeah. I'll just turn the laptop.
If you close your laptop,
it's closed, so that's why I thought it was okay.
Right. I don't know. It'll be okay.
All right, I'm muting. Now, if you've got that tab still up on the laptop, you just right mouse click into it, and it will have a drop down box. I thought I closed everything out and turned it off, so that's why I'm not getting what it's doing. It's all right. If you're talking, but if anyone else talking up their voice in the background. So I don't know, but I'll mute mine. I'll figure it out.
So the Social Security that's not civil already, as it is, exactly right. Our government has been liquidating or looting that treasury,
billions of dollars,
so that they can fund an apparatus that is literally kidnapping and trafficking American children.
100% correct.
And are they selling these children as well? Are they profiting off from giving these children to a home?
Yes. But they call it adoption. So
you can't steal my child and then adopt it.
Yes, they can.
Under Title 4D of the Social Security Act, the federal government is essentially paying state CPS agencies every time they accuse someone of abuse.
Yes.
And so, if you subsidize apples, you get more apples. You subsidize corn, you get more corn. They're subsidizing abuse allegations, even if they don't have to be proven true or false or anything. It's just all they have to do is make the accusation and they get more money. So because that's how it's set up.
With recent changes at the federal level, state government gets reimbursements based upon the rate of adoptions.
It's an allegation we've seen many times in our 3-year-long investigation of Kentucky CPS, that instead of trying to bring families together, the cabinet forces adoptions to earn more federal bonus money.
You get praise. The cabinet praises you for terminating rights and adopting kids out immediately.
She says the concerted effort to take children away and put them up for adoption was so brazen, she actually saw someone successfully place an order for children.
This is alleging kidnapping within the system.
What else do you call it? If there is someone who is connected to the system and they see a child that they want, they are going to get the child.
The Williams are among 4 Florida families now suing the governor and leaders of Florida's Department of Children and Families and other state foster care organizations, accusing the organizations of fabricating evidence, hiding and withholding key information, and ignoring state and federal family laws so they could snatch children from their biological families and then adopt them out to system-connected strangers.
It's happening all over Florida.
So this is much bigger than these 4 families.
It's much bigger. The system is a lie. That's just what it is.
The separation of families and the snatching of children is growing as the business grows, because state and local governments have grown accustomed to having these taxpayer dollars to balance their ever-growing budgets.
And by the way, this is not a red state, blue state problem. It really doesn't matter whether Democrats or Republicans are in charge. This is not about red or blue. It's entirely about getting federal green. That's literally all it is getting that subsidized money.
This has a provision in here that says if the states want this money, then you guys have to pass in your own legislatures your own Child Protection Act, and you can name it whatever you want to name it, but it has to have certain provisions and meet a certain standard. And as long as you meet those certain standards, we're going to give you the money. Well, all 50 states have passed it.
So the only way that the state, your agency, gets money from the federal government is if it removes that child from the home, correct?
I don't know if that's the only way, but I know that's one way.
Under Title 4E, what do you train your workers about how the state gets its money in relation to the work they do for your agency? What do you teach them?
For the Title 4E funding, that's correct. But I don't know about the other grants and all of that stuff.
Okay, the only thing we're talking about right now is the exhibit that's in front of you, Title 4E funding. In order to qualify for Title 4E funding, you train your workers that they must remove that child from the home. That's the first step, right?
Yes.
Then the second step you train your workers is that they must obtain from the court an order that says continuation in the home is contrary to the best interest of the child, correct?
Correct.
And you teach them this. If they don't follow those 2 steps, your agency does not get the money under Title 4E, correct?
Correct.
And that the failure to follow those 2 steps could cost the state millions of dollars, correct?
Yes.
In order to help understand this, everybody remembers recently when the COVID money was flowing freely. You remember the COVID money?
Sure do.
What did all 50 states have to do in order to get the COVID money? They had to comply, and they all had to pass their own COVID statutes.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is the way the federal government controls the states, because we still are a constitutional republic, and the 50 states all are sovereign individual governments. The federal government just can't come and ramrod one of the 50 states. But if the 50 states say, well, we want money the federal government's going to give us, so we're going to comply with whatever they say, and we can't just comply by saying, we'll obey you. We have to create our own laws within our own legislature. And we did that with COVID, and we did it in 1997. All 50 states have their own Child Protection Act. That Child Protection Act in all 50 states gives every state cover, because those laws in the 50 states protect the police departments, they protect the court systems to break and violate every single freaking right you and I have from the Constitution in the name of that law that they passed.
We are the state of Michigan. Do you understand what we do?
Yes, I do.
We can't remove children.
Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence, and they seek wrongly to terminate parental rights while being protected by state immunity.
Is it wrong? Yes. Is it immoral? Yes. Is it evil? Is it corrupt? Yes, 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 yes. But he's not going to jail because they created a system to protect themselves so there's no consequences. So of course they're going to do it.
The caseworker and supervisor who lied in order to remove the Bright's children still work for CPS in the same positions.
Issues no apology, says no remorse, and does not at all address their conduct or what they did to the Bright family.
The evidence on court records of perjury, of documents being changed just before they went into court, all of that came out of the trial. That's all evidence. Any other civilian goes to jail for those things.
There is a huge bureaucracy made up of judges, court-appointed attorneys, guardian ad litems, social workers, state employees, court investigators, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, foster parents, adoptive parents, and on, who are looking to the children in state care for their job security.
So if there's $1 billion sitting in this,
I had to write out a report
and
once
this
to
police
explain the
agency can't-
difference between clonidine and clonopine to the fucking courts and social service to prove that my drug test wasn't dirty. Because they said it was dirty. I had them lab it. And like they itemized like everything that was in it. And all I was taking was blood pressure pills. That's it. And they tried to say that that was Klonopin. It was a form of Klonopin. It's what the social worker told the judge. So I had to go and do a bunch of fucking research and print it all off, hundreds of pages, and carry it into the courtroom to prove that I was not taking a benzo, which would have been prescribed anyway. So
My generation of social workers have been shameless. I mean, honestly, it's been, it's sad.
It's just fucking tragic all round. Fucking.
before anybody gets excited, I'm smoking lavender for pain. Sue me.
Pay its bills unless it sucks enough money out of that pot, but it can't suck enough money out of that pot unless it takes enough children that year, so they can say, in order for us to do our duty that we did all year, we had to support families and family unity and family, and they're having it under all these pretty names.
Of course, save the children.
Save the children, and all they're doing is kidnapping children. So as long as they can check it off, we kidnapped 200 kids this year. Okay, cool. Here's $100 million for your police agency or whatever it is.
I don't think anyone was like, wow, this will lead to nationwide child trafficking. I think that whoever introduced it thought that this was a good way to fund things when they first introduced it in the 70s. But what it has happened over the last few decades is you see states that are putting quotas on their caseworkers saying you have to find this many abuse accusations that you can credibly make.
It's literally hitting a quota, and it's so decompartmentalized that the cops are just going, oh, I'm just going and rescuing a child and taking it from its mother. I'm not the trafficker. I'm not the one who's selling the child or putting it, you get what I'm saying?
They all say that. What did they say in the Nuremberg trials?
Just do my job.
Just obeying orders. Just doing my job. The cops always use that same excuse.
You're not a good faith actor. You're here to cause damage with police. Under color of law, you're here to cause trouble for me.
Here's the deal. If we get involved, what's going to happen is we're going to call the SWAT team out, okay? And they're going to come and get the kids.
Look, this is harassment by the government. This is a police state. Come and take my children away. You come to take my kids, my daughters away from me. You're an evil human being, taking a 1-month-old breastfeeding baby away from its mother. You're working as gangsters for the government right now. Guns and badges to enforce the will that is a legal will. Without any evidence, without any proof.
To take Sadie from me. So they showed up to the hospital to take the twins from me too when we were there in the emergency room with them trying to get them medical care.
So what happened? Sorry, I missed that.
I said the cops, the social worker, and everybody, they all show up in force like that to intimidate you. That's what happened to me when they took Sadie from the hospital when I gave birth. After being court ordered to take Suboxone, they said they were taking her because she had Suboxone in her system. And they brought the cops. They also, it was the same social worker for all 4 of my kids too. Let's not get it fucked up. Her name's Tiffany Collins. My sister's name is Tiffany Collins. It's not the same person.
Really?
It's not the same person. That's why some question and child support payment. My sister's not getting a child support payment. And I'm wondering, is it possibly going to that social worker who has the same name?
Might get Tanya onto that.
I mean, we should be able to track that, shouldn't we? Should we? Yeah. There should be some way to look at that. And the twins. Whenever we have the twins, when they come,
They make us scared of healthcare. We are terrified of taking. I mean, there was a period of time that when my kids were teenage years, but Sarah was a little younger, that it was terrifying having them get sick or something happen, because especially if they got hurt. Oh my gosh, because you knew they would somebody would call. As soon as you got to the hospital, somebody was going to call.
We had been in the emergency room all night long with both babies, with my boyfriend. He was there the whole time. They couldn't help us, so they told us to see the pediatrician the next morning. So he took one of the twins and went to the car to wait. I was in the office with the other twin, had my feet in her car seat, my bare feet. I kicked my flip-flops off, put them in, and I was rocking her with my feet and like sitting there, like probably had my eyes closed. I might have dozed off a little bit. But I mean, my feet are in her car seat. My baby's not crying. She's safe. We're in a doctor's office in a hospital. And they called social services on me and told them that I had to have been fucked up and that I needed my children removed right then. And they took them from that hospital right then, gave them to the man that raped me every day. Brought the cops.
Right?
The only thing I ever failed a drug test for was marijuana and Suboxone, too, by the way, which I had a prescription for the Suboxone. I mean, there was no prescription then for marijuana, but it's fucking weed.
They loaded you all up with Suboxone, forced you to take Suboxone, and then turned around and punished y'all for having it, or punished you for getting it. You know, it was always something with it. You know.
So it was court-ordered. Mullins?
Yes. No. Jim Woods was the judge then. It was right whenever Suboxone first started being a thing. It wasn't even prescribed in this county. I had to go out of county and see a different doctor to Pike County. Whenever they sent me over there for that detox, that's when they started me for the 17 days of detox, when they knocked on my dad's door and drugged me out of my bed to take me to detox in the middle of the day. That's what they did. They put me on Suboxone after that, and then shipped me off to rehab for a year. And whenever I got back here, I had to go to the doctor out of town because there wasn't even any doctors around here that wrote it. They were all fucking like, no, this is a bad drug. We don't want anything to do with this. We don't want no part of this. And
that's why there's such the stigma now with it, because you've got people.
Whenever they took Sadie, the grounds was because they said because my doctor wasn't a valid doctor or whatever. I had been seeing that doctor the entire time I was pregnant. And just a few weeks before I gave birth, he got busted for some kind of fucking Medicaid fraud or prescription fraud, writing bad prescriptions, and got fired. So I got my child taken because my doctor was doing wrong. They said I no longer had a valid prescription, even though my script had been valid the entire fucking pregnancy. And it was court ordered. I was not allowed to not go to the doctor. They would have put me in jail.
And it's a medication that you have to be tapered off. You can't just be yanked off of it. I mean, especially during pregnancy.
And come to find out,
you cannot be yanked.
For a pregnant woman to take Suboxone, you have to take Subutex that doesn't have the naloxone. So they gave me
the wrong one.
The wrong one through her whole fucking pregnancy.
Ida Hef, do you think that she would be interested in telling her story?
I hope one day. I know Leah's going to one day.
No, Ida Hef's got a friend who's practicing family law, and she's currently litigating a case that to get the Guardian ad litem removed off of it. And apparently, this Guardian ad litem has been working for decades, and no one's ever called her out on her abuse. And I was just wondering if she would be interested in coming up and telling her story.
Oh, okay. That would be awesome.
Okay. I mean, we can keep her totally
We've got
anonymous.
some guests coming up too, like that's associated with this thing, with this kind of thing too. That's why we thought it'd probably be best to start with the movie and let a comprehensive understanding of where we're at and what we've been going through.
Yeah,
for decades.
Is Leslie coming? Is she?
Yeah, I don't know if she's going to make it right now or like I don't know what time. She might not be able to come on until later, but
good.
I will let you know. Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't checked my phone in a while. So I'll let you know when I check.
Right. Oh,
why are you doing this?
They're financially incentivized to do it. That's just at the police agency. Take a look at doctors and hospitals. And what do you think the doctors do? Once the doctors get them, well, anybody who knows anything about doctors and popular allopathic medicine today, you know, they don't care about you or your health. There's one question they ask: what does your insurance cover? Right? And whatever your insurance covers, wow, isn't it a miracle? That's everything we're going to do. So then none of that shocks people.
That's
but here's the point.
That's
private insurance. Private insurance all has a limit to what they'll cover. Guess who basically has no limit to what they'll cover in the name of saving the kids? Medicare and Medicaid. Every single child in the hands of a hospital or a doctor who is there by way of CPS has an unlimited carte blanche checkbook with Medicare and Medicaid.
Back to her.
Anything they do is covered by Medicare and Medicaid.
And do they have the legal authorization?
Yes.
If your kid is unvaxxed and then they now have custody of your kid, he's getting every booster vaxxed, all of it, all medical treatment, all paid for on our tax time?
The answer is they are able to do anything they want to do if the doctor deems it necessary.
If they believe it's in the best interest of the
That's
child.
exactly right.
Which any quack doctor
At
who
any
went to
point.
any of these schools.
And that's important because in Letcher County, that 20 years that they've been, and more that they've been doing this, they have refined it so well that they've included CPS, the entire court system, the law enforcement, and the doctors. Okay? They're all intertwined.
And it's not just here in Letcher County like that. The problem is much bigger than just Letcher County. It's nationwide, for real. Like, Ryan Matta's covered it because it is such a nationwide problem. It's a systematic failure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is textbook for system failure.
Oh, it's total like it's domination. It's
slavery. It is slavery.
It's like
it is slavery. The entire judicial system, the prosecutorial, the setup, how you're supposed to be innocent till proven guilty, you're not. You're still going to rot in jail for years before you ever see a court date. It's slavery. Every time they arrest you, they create a debt that has to be paid.
Yep.
But guess what? You're not the only person they're drawing money from.
Nope.
The federal government pays them for every time they charge you with something. Every time. It's not just the CPS.
Nope. And then they charge you.
Every traffic ticket you get. Every driving with no license. You know, it's in the Constitution specifically that we don't have to pay a fee or a license to exist for anything. Bet y'all didn't know that, did you? Because we have all these laws saying we need a fishing license and a driver's license and a car tag and all these other things and pay taxes on our properties and we pay taxes to pay taxes to pay taxes just to exist. And this is what it's funding. The kidnapping and murders and rapes of our own children.
You said that there was...
And it's nationwide. It is coast to coast. It is the entire system created to do this. It's slavery.
You were saying that in your county, they've got heaps and heaps of signs up everywhere to advertising for foster parents and shit.
Yes, I just, we saw a bunch of them the other day that they're looking for new foster parents.
I looked back into it. I had thought about maybe, but with my life as hectic as it is now, there's no way I can. But a couple months back, I thought, you know, might be nice. And, you know, they said, you know, that I possibly could. So, you know, that was something that made me feel nice. But yeah, they're needing foster parents horribly. I mean, you know.
Anything that's got a price tag attached to it is fair game for them. Which is fucked.
is brainwashed into going, yeah, it's in the best interest because it's also in the best interest of my paycheck.
It is in the best interest of the child to be removed and medicated.
Oh, one thing, it was a law. Now they did have regulations back in the day, like when we was doing foster care. You know, they had certain. It couldn't be your only income. You know what I mean? Like say.
Like you had to have a job.
You had to have you had to have a job. But they found a loophole there. Because if your spouse was drawing disability or Social Security or whatever, they would count that as income. So technically, they were sliding by with right. So you know, they was some people getting by with it, which we didn't. You know, dumbass or I mean, ex-husband or whatever you want to call him worked. Sorry, he worked. You know, he had a good job and everything, and I, you know, stayed home with all the kids and stuff. So that was like primarily my job because I done all the, you know, counseling. I had one foster child. She had a counselor. I swear it took us 2.5 hours to drive to the appointment. And they had her doing it twice a week. And I would have to she would have to miss school that day. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And it didn't make any sense to me. It does now, you know, because you could charge for your mileage. I mean, you know, things like that. And I sometimes I would if it was like something like that where I was doing a lot of driving and needed help with gas and stuff. But
that's a good point. It's not just the check they receive for taking care of the kid every month.
Right, you can charge mileage,
they charge for food, they charge gas, they charge for
birthday, but you know they don't get much. They, you know, like at Christmas time, they only get. I mean, it's like a very small amount. I don't even think it's $50. If it is, it's not much over it. You know, 60 at the most. Which this has been years back.
Well, now they do a reimbursement where it's automatic down to the beginning. And return back to spends it to the child to do whatever.
So they've refined it a whole lot since I was, you know, involved with it. So I mean, you know, and that's just another thing. You know, it was so crazy. Now looking back on it, I hate to say this, but you got to think when I got my first set of foster kids, I hate calling them foster kids. I hate calling them that. But they were a sibling group of 5. They were from Florida. The oldest one was 17, and I was 27. And I had 3 kids of my own. So that put 8 kids in my home at one time. So
how did you look after 8?
It was hard. I had a nervous breakdown just close, very, very close to it. If I hadn't had, you know, my mom and, you know, people to help with certain things, I don't know how I would have done it.
So why so many?
I felt bad. I felt bad because, like I said, they had this gathering for kids, you know, that needed families or whatever. And you know, here was these kids from Florida. They didn't have no family in Kentucky. I mean, so at that thing, I just fell in love with them. And
she didn't want to see them separated.
I didn't want to see them separated. They was trying to separate them. They had the 2 youngest. A couple was going to take them, but didn't want the other kids. You had all 3 of the other ones. The oldest one was medically fragile. She had seizures. We'd be in Walmart, and she was a very heavy girl, and you know, she would just hit the dirt, you know, and have a seizure on me, and you know, it would get so bad. She had one time. We had a bathroom that had a door that it's called, you know, Jack and Jill, where they can come in, you know, from 2 directions. and she had a seizure, and the way she landed was to the point we couldn't get either door open, and we got one door open just enough that we sent Sarah through because she was little at the time.
Yep.
And she kind of helped us get in. But I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest, but I mean, I thought I could do it.
They got some extra time together at least.
Yeah, I mean, it broke my heart when I couldn't. And, I even tried to keep the older ones that no one wanted. We even tried that for a little bit. And it was such a sad situation, and it about killed me. And so my first experience was traumatic as can be, I wasn't old enough to be making big decisions like that. I mean, I feel that now. I mean, but then I thought,
How old were you when you had
when I had these kids,
the first one?
Huh?
The first foster child.
The first 27, 26, 27.
And you had all of them.
And the foster child was 17. So there was only like a 10-year age gap between us. So, here I'm as a parental figure, and I'm not very much older than you,
Yeah.
But I tried. I tried so hard. It broke my heart when I realized, I'm just not capable, because I had just found out I was sick. So it was kind of like I had to decide, my health at the time, So, but yeah, it's a big situation, but I'll shut up so we can get through this.
I wanted to hang on. Let me mute her mic real quick. I just wanted to point out like what she's saying there about like how nobody wanted the older ones. We were talking about earlier, I think it was before we went live, how there's a price tag. These kids are classified according not only to their age and sex, like gender or whatever, but also like their medical needs and things like that. And certain kids, like the ones that don't bring as much money, they don't get took in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we are
certain criteria you got to meet for a certain level of funding, and they always used to push us to try and find, and document anything that would bump them up to the next level. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep.
Anything, as I said, anything that's run for profit is up for abuse.
The family of Justina Pelletier claims their daughter was held by Boston Children's against her will.
They're going after the hospital and the doctors who they say violated their civil rights.
When that pediatrician that is part of this pipeline sees this child with an injury that's being caused by a sickness, they don't say, oh no, this child has this illness, we need to get them treatment immediately. They think cha-ching.
They have unlimited ability to take money from us. On the other hand, you have limited resources with which to try to fight for Justina.
Right. The whole system, the way it's set up, whether it's in Massachusetts or whatever, but you're fighting the state that you're in, and they've got obviously deep pockets, state of Massachusetts, DCF, but you're also fighting the hospital that's behind them.
This is happening in states across the country because of a perverse funding incentive where the federal government pays Child Protective Services and everyone down that pipeline, but only if they call it abuse. Even if it turns out not to be abuse, they get money.
The only abuse you've been accused of is doing what the Tufts doctors wanted you to do. And as you pointed out to me the other night, what the insurance companies paid for. Why would they pay for these procedures that were totally unnecessary? The doctors.
And if that child ends up being put in foster care, they get even more money. And if that child ends up being taken away from their parents permanently and put up for adoption, they get even more money.
please let me go home right now. I need to be home with my family, and just please do it. You can do it. You please. I know you can do it. Please, right now. Please let me go home right now.
That is what it looks like when someone looks at a child and doesn't see them as an individual human being. They see them as a funding opportunity.
I think just looking at the images that we're seeing behind us, I mean, you look at her under the care of her family, and then you look at her under the care of the government, and it seems to be that the government's treating her as though that she's a piece of property rather than a person.
And when the parents get in the way because they want their child back, they see them as a political obstacle.
We gotta free Justina!
State of Massachusetts, get ready to have your phone lines be ringing off the hook, because now the country is enraged.
She was doing better under their care than under the care of the government.
We just want the government out of our lives.
They say a child in the foster care system, by the time they turn 18, is worth over $1 million to the government. The states pocket thousands per child funneled into the foster care and adoption pipeline, with bonuses for special need cases or quick placement. Caseworkers, overwhelmed or complicit, fabricate claims to hit their quotas, while courts are stacked with insiders. They all rubber stamp those removals.
Does the court sometimes just rubber stamp these cases?
I'd like to say no, but I think that it is true that sometimes not enough attention is given.
They want the court to make those orders because those orders are what get them paid.
I mean, does the judge get paid?
The social workers are actually trained by the judiciary on what they need to say and how they need to fill out the form in order to get the Title IV funding from the government. So the judges are in on it also. They're all drinking coffee out of the same pot. They're
getting paid.
They're getting paid. They're getting their salaries.
They say that each state has its judge, individual rogue judge, or its individual rogue court. The whole court system is a mess, does not protect children.
After having worked in this arena for several years, I do not believe that a single child comes out whole after having been in this system.
Children vanish into this leviathan of group homes, private agencies, and unvetted foster parents. Some are sold to predators under the guise of care. A child who is taken by CPS has a 700% higher probability of adopting out to a gay parent versus a child who's given up by their adopted parent. This isn't protection. It's a demonic state-sponsored market trading kids for dollars with zero accountability.
Guess where most of these children are adopted by? Most of these children are adopted by homosexual couples because other adoption agencies, Catholic agencies, Christian agencies, Mormon agencies, they don't adopt out to homosexual couples. But if you get a kid from the government, they're more than happy to give them to queers.
Oh my gosh, you're so tall. You're gonna sit on my shoulder? Wow. No. Come on, let's go look in here.
A gay guy couple are just as equipped to raise a child as heterosexual parents. That's what you say.
Absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. Because
no
love,
difference.
stability, commitment, kindness, caring, values, morals, discipline, guidance, that's what really makes good parents.
Developing now, a couple is behind bars accused of producing child porn. Authorities say with their adopted kids.
Two Georgia men will spend the rest of their lives in prison after being convicted of adopting two young boys and sexually abusing them.
Inside their home, investigators collected 7 terabytes of child sex material. Let that number sink in. That means these dads had more than 3,000 hours worth of child pornography recordings of their own sons.
It's almost as if these men adopted these children for this explicit purpose.
We have a couple here that own the pizza parlor down here in Awesome that just got convicted of having child porn of their own child with their own child. Oh.
Molesting their adopted sons also pimped them out the pedophile ring, FBI says. These people want to rape them.
A critical mass of gay men are interested in raising children out of the goodness of their own hearts. That was the argument.
But I'm saying gay men, what they call it in the news, are adopting children. And most of them are social worker kids grabbed by social workers
And they're telling you right here, same-sex couples raising children are 7 times more likely than their different-sex counterparts to be raising an adopted child. And they're getting them all from CPS. Basically, it's the only source for a homosexual couple to get an adopted child.
Look at her. How could you not love her? Look at that face.
Children who are raised by gay men ultimately face double the risk of depression in adulthood. They're also at a significant risk of being sexually abused, even though nobody wants to talk about that.
And they give them to these pedophile men who then sell them to rape gangs.
My son, who was taken for a period of time, is now back, was put in a group home where the young children there were offered up to adults for sex, minor children. And this is what happens in group homes. They're trafficked to pedophiles. And this is the practice, because selling a child over and over again is just such a lucrative business.
Andrea Wood is the president of the activist group California Family Advocacy.
The counties need the money. I have records of the Contra Costa County saying that they're broke, they're in financial stress, they need money, and they need to take these children away. So they're actually trying to make false allegations against parents. They're trying to force children under what's called suborned perjury to lie against their parents. It's a criminal racket. It really is. But the big racket is putting children in foster cares, group homes, and adopting children out.
This is not right. You guys are doing something illegal.
The machine thrives because it's untouchable. Whistleblowers are fired, parents are silenced, and records are sealed. CPS hides behind its rescue stories, but the truth is brutal, and they're not saving kids. They are harvesting them. Every dollar Congress pumps into the systems just tightens the chains, turning children into commodities and families into collateral damage. We're pulling back the curtain, exposing the beast for what it is, the world's largest, most insidious child trafficking network funded with your tax dollars. CPS, the agency you were programmed to trust, is a predator in disguise, and the United States government is the enabler. Today, we step into the heart of this betrayal with a story that will rewrite everything you thought you knew. This is the story of baby Cyrus, a child torn from his family, a casualty of CPS's ruthless machine. And through the voices of 4 family members, we'll uncover the pain, the lies, and the truth that will leave you outraged. All right, let's do this.
The mic is good.
Yeah, mic's good, yeah. You want to count to 10?
Okay, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, you're good.
4. Okay. My name is Marissa Anderson. I've been married for 5 years. I've got 3 kids, and I had a crazy story where my son was taken wrongfully through CPS. So I'm just here to share my story today.
My son, Cyrus, he's absolutely the healthiest baby that I've ever known.
Are you so happy?
He was a natural home birth, no vaccines, no medical interventions. And he was actually, chunky, fat, plumpy. He was breastfed. He was a very healthy baby all the way up until that 8-month mark when all of a sudden he started vomiting.
We introduced him to solid foods, and he had a lot of trouble with digesting. So we went to a holistic pediatrician who, in an episode when we took my son there, the pediatrician recommended that we take him to the ER because he was dehydrated from so much vomiting.
Cyrus's episodes, how they worked is they're on and off. And it's called CVS, cyclical vomiting syndrome. It's a very, very rare condition, more of a condition, not disease. And nobody really has like an actual cure for it. It's just that this cyclical vomiting syndrome is where a kid will just have these random, they call it vomiting episodes, where you just randomly get sick and you start throwing up for maybe 10 hours, maybe a day, maybe 5 days. Like, for example, when Cyrus was having his vomiting episodes, he would go about a week good, and then about a week bad. It was about a week on, week off, and he could be vomiting up to 4 days straight sometimes. And that's when it got so bad that we took him in to see that lady there, and then she told us to go to the ER, and it all started from there.
So we took him into the ER and, they ran a bunch of tests, blood tests. All the tests came back good. The doctor actually said he was one of the healthiest babies they've seen according to their tests, right? So they weren't getting to the bottom of it.
At St. Luke's Hospital, Natasha Erickson, our doctor, was leaning up against the wall while we were telling her our son is throwing up over and over and over, and that this is not normal, and that we have done everything. He's breastfeed, he's a healthy baby, no vaccines. And by the way, after we told her that he was not vaccinated, because she did ask, she acted very hostile and distant from us. And at that point, I knew that we weren't going to get the care that we needed for Cyrus.
He actually was getting worse and worse in the hospital, and we wanted to take him home so we can continue our care plan with our naturopathic doctor. We were actually able to get him over his episodes quicker at home. So, we asked to take him home, and they got really defensive about that.
Dr. Natasha Erickson was still literally treating us like we were kids. We didn't know what to do, and that she needed to do everything for our kid to make him better, or at least do all these different tests and run these, and that this was required. And she threatened and said, if you don't do these things, then I will call CPS. She made that threat in the hospital. And that was, I think, 2 days in, she made that threat.
No matter if it violates your religious exemptions or not.
No, and she knew, because we told her we were Christians, and we told her that he was unvaccinated and that we were a Christian family. And she knew. So no matter if it violated our religious exemptions or not, it didn't matter to her. She made that threat.
So of course, scared of that, we stayed another night, I believe, in the hospital, and they discharged us the next day because he had stopped the vomiting.
Not because of anything they were doing. They ran all kinds of tests on him and all kinds of stuff that was completely unnecessary, but they said they needed to. And she told us, I'm not going to let you guys leave unless I have somebody set up that you can go in and do checkup appointments with. And I'm not going to sign the consent form for you to leave until that happens. Of course, Marissa and I, we just wanted to get out of there with Cyrus. We were like, this is it. We just have to say yes and get out of there. So we said, okay, fine. And she set us up to go visit with Aaron Dykstra that following week, because we were released on a Saturday.
We had a follow-up with the pediatrician on Monday, and then Thursday, I believe, we had another appointment with the pediatrician, so that second appointment. And this time around, he had told us that he wanted us to come back in the next day, which was Friday, so we could see my son's weight, to see Cyrus's weight, just a weigh-in. And he told us, you don't even have to see me. You could just have one of the nurses put him on the scale.
Well, Friday morning, Marissa actually wakes up with a severe sore throat. She's not feeling that well. And she's saying, I really don't think that I can go in. And I'm completely understanding that. And it's this like during COVID times too, right? Where literally they're like, if you feel anything, mask up, don't come into our doctor's offices, we'll reschedule, right? That's normally what we're having.
I'm not sleeping much at all. My son's been sick on and off. And with the CPS threat, it was just a lot of stress. So I ended up calling in and told them I wanted to reschedule, wouldn't be able to make it in that day. Then turned my phone off, went to sleep. When I woke up, my phone had messages from a social worker.
And this lady called my phone, leaving a voicemail saying we had a missed appointment that we didn't go to. And Aaron Dykstra sent it over to her saying that we need you immediately to take your son down to Faces of Hope Center.
And it was a child abuse center where
Jody, you remember whenever I was telling you that CPS leases office space inside of hospitals so that they can have easier access to kidnap our children? This is a good example of that. They're monitoring medical records, which is against HIPAA too.
Been on the phone that they would have police waiting there for us.
So I'm thinking what the heck is going on? This is not severe. We have Cyrus. She's freaking, literally, she leaves me this voicemail and she sounds like she's demanding me to go, I have no other option. And I come to find out later, this is how they make things sound to parents. They make it sound like it's so urgent. You have no other option. This is how the social workers do things. That is how they operate. And you know what the Faces of Hope Center is?
Let's talk about Faces of Hope. For those who may not be familiar with the organization, what are you and what do you do?
We support victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, elder abuse, child abuse, human trafficking, and stalking We have partners in our building that provide great resources. It takes a village to provide wraparound services.
That's where they take kids that have been put in the system. They take them there, get them checked out, and then they do all kinds of investigations, and they use that in their case.
So of course it's a very, it's very scary. We don't want to just take him right in. We wanted to contact our attorneys first.
And then I let my father-in-law, Diego, know. And about that same time, we had 2 Meridian Police Department detectives show up at his office location. It's one thing if you have a social worker calling you and leaving you voicemails, well, detectives showing up. That's legitimately concerning. That's scary, man.
Yeah, the cops coming for your kid.
That's exactly right. That's what I thought.
By the end of the day, we actually ended up at a friend's house who was a former police officer. I really wanted to talk to this friend and just kind of get some advice from him. So we were there. We spoke with the friend. He had a dinner for our family. He was saying they have no probable cause. You guys haven't done anything wrong. You should be fine.
So you guys leave, you guys went out to dinner. Were you out to dinner with everybody?
I was.
Yeah, okay. So you guys leave dinner. And what was that? Walk me through how that event unfolded for you.
It was so weird because when we left that night, I came with my dad and my brothers in one car, and my sister, Levi and Cyrus, came in their truck. And when we left, I was like, I'm riding with you guys, which I do regularly. When we meet up somewhere, I'll ride with them, ride back home. Marissa was in the back seat with Cyrus. And because that's where his car seat was, she wanted to be close to him, which most moms do. And, the kids are a little bit older. And so I rode in the front with Levi. My dad takes off ahead of us. And as soon as we pulled out, I immediately saw that black car. So I immediately said, guys, they found us. They're here for us. And I call my dad. I'm like, Dad, they're right here. The cops are here. I think they're trying to get us. And he looks ahead and he goes, oh, I see another one on the street up ahead. And he was like, yeah, they're coming for us for sure. So he's the one who suggested we pull into that gas station. It was fully lit. We didn't want to be on some chase or pulled over and the black. I mean, it's 11:30 p.m. at this point.
So we pull into the gas station and he said, don't do anything. Don't lock the doors, right? I'll be there soon. Start filming.
We got a call from Meridian Police Department detectives. Okay. And for whatever reason, they're looking for your truck.
This cop was actually a Garden City Police Department. So it was outside of Meridian. It's a neighboring city, but it was outside of Meridian. So it was just nearby, right? So they didn't actually have jurisdiction, but come later to find out in the actual reports that we received from the lawsuit, from our discovery and all that kind of stuff, they illegally tracked my cell phone and they went to T-Mobile. T-Mobile's my carrier, and they requested a ping on my cell phone. The Meridian Police Department had this in their records. They pinged my cell phone and it gave them the location of that area. And they had it was in Garden City, right? Out of their jurisdiction.
I wish you could see a list of all the phones that been pinged in Letcher County.
What was that?
I'd like to see a list of all the phones that's just been pinged in Letcher County. Kind of like how his records and everything pinged. Yeah, that would be nice.
It would.
And do a stakeout on us. And they also put a bolo on my truck. Be on the lookout for my truck. Any cop that sees my truck, report it.
The Garden City says, hey, Meridian Police had us pull you guys over. We just want to detain you and ask you some questions. So the detectives pull up. And these detectives are the ones who are familiar with the case, if you will. There's a lot of other cops and officers on scene that they brought on who don't really know what's going on, right? But the detectives and the sergeant know exactly what was going on. Marissa's in the back, Levi's in the front, and they're talking and communicating their whole story. What's going on with Cyrus, all the steps they've taken, all their hospital visits, why they had missed the visit earlier that day. And then somewhere, it seemed quite sudden.
Levi, do me a favor, step out of the car. Isn't that my right? Not right now, it's not. Get out of the damn car. Get out of the car. I'm not gonna screw around with you, okay? Get out of the car right now. Get back now, or you're gonna go to jail. Detain for what? We're not gonna screw with you. You understand? For what? For what?
And that violence is something that just made me kind of snap in the moment and realize, oh, they're really trying to do it now that they took Levi and now they're arresting him.
For what reason? For a felony injury to a child.
And in the moment I had time to even process that, they look up at me and say, step out of the vehicle.
I need you to put your phone down and step out. She needs to come out too.
What time did I commit?
felony injury to child. Get out of the car.
Excuse me. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. Let me get out. I will step out.
Get out of the car.
I will step out.
You're under arrest.
Dad, it's okay.
So that's when they pull me out of the vehicle, and I look over, and my dad, he's yelling at the cops. My little brother's yelling at the cops, as they would be, right? When their daughter and sister are being arrested for no reason. I know the history and the reputation of the police officers in Idaho and what they do, and so I realized at that point anything was possible if they overreacted. So I was like, guys, it's okay, like I'm fine.
For felony injury to child.
For felony injury to child. That's not my child.
That's not your child?
In the video, you could hear me tell them, like, I'm not the mom. And the one officer who arrested me says, well, if you're not the mom, you don't need to be going into handcuffs right now.
Okay, if it's not your child, then you don't need to be going in handcuffs.
Yeah, well, you should know how to do your job better. So I kind of had that snarky reply where I'm like, well, you should know how to do your job better because, maybe it's good to identify the person and know why you're arresting them.
You're under arrest for false information as well.
What false information? What did I
said
do?
that wasn't your kid.
When I look over, and I'm more concerned now at this point that, like, all right, my dad and brother's on the side, Levi's arrested, now me, now Marissa's alone. She's by herself with the baby, and that's it.
No, Miranda, let them. Miranda.
I will step out. Get out of the car.
Miranda, get out of the car. Just feels like they were isolating me, right? They took my husband and they took my sister out, and now it's just me here with my baby. And
All right, I need you to step out of the car.
I was just thinking, okay, like it's on me now to protect my son. And I knew that I was about to go through something very difficult, but I could feel God right there with me. That's the only way I was able to even somewhat keep my cool.
Hey guys,
The baby, okay?
no, I can't. Can you please help me right now? You understand that I'm just on right now. I really need your help right now. No.
No, come here. It's okay. They're going to check and they will give him right back to
I
you.
can't.
Oh, shit. I'll
I
give
promised
him
him I wouldn't let him go.
I will give him right back to you.
Oh, shit.
I will stand right here with you, I promise. Okay?
But the officer, he asked for me to hand over Cyrus so he could do a pat down search. And, I thought they were going to just not give him back. So I was like, I'm not going to give him over. I don't want to do that. But he convinced me to trust him and just hand him over for the search, which I did. And he did give him back. So I thought, okay, he kept his word there. And then he told me, if you get in the ambulance with your son, you can go with him to the hospital. We just want to check him out, make sure everything's okay.
We'll give you that opportunity, okay? But we're going to take him to the hospital. If you want to go, you can
Can I
come
ride
along.
with him?
Yes, you can. Okay. We'll get an ambulance here to transport you guys.
And I was like, okay, that's okay. I'm okay with that. If you want to check him, as long as I'm with him, I'm okay with that. So I listen to them, I get my diaper bag, everything, go into the ambulance, sit down with my son, and the lead detective hands me a pink piece of paper and he says, your son is now in the custody of the state and you have to hand him over or you're going to go to jail.
I'm not going to leave him. I'm not.
This is how it's going to go, okay?
No,
And he had just told me, right, persuaded me, first built up that trust. And I thought, okay, I really could. I'll go to the hospital.
The officer told me that I could go with him in the ambulance into the hospital.
Yeah, and I don't know what was said before then. I was not a part of that conversation.
You can't take him. You can't.
And we had a bit of an interaction there where I was trying to explain to him that he doesn't digest proteins well. He can only accept my breast milk. He needs me to be able to nurse him. And I plead with him saying, just let me go with him. You can watch. I'm not going to do anything, right? Like, you're right there. Why not just let me go with you? And he didn't care.
You need to give him to the EMT, and you can go on your merry way with your friends and your family who's out there.
That's not Mary at all.
Or I remove him from you and you go to jail. You need to make that decision. You need to make it now, please.
I won't let him go.
Okay.
Just cold, very cold. And I knew there was not going to be any way out of it, but I also knew that I couldn't willfully hand my son over.
Okay.
I'll be getting out of that.
Please let him go so he does not get hurt, okay? Come here, little buddy. Okay.
I didn't physically resist at all, but I didn't hand him over. And I was like, I let him go. Like I
There's
tried back.
nothing like the
I
of not being able
didn't want to go to jail.
there's nothing. I mean, that agony of not being able to protect them is just, it's horrible. You know,
I would have fucking.
it's unimaginable.
They would have had to jail me for fucking abuse of a law enforcement officer. No fucking way. Pry them out of my dead hands, you cunt. Sorry. I cussed.
Jail, but they were like, nope.
She's going to jail.
Put your hands on your back, please, okay?
They just took my son from me, handcuffed me, and
Hey, Stacey. How you going? Edison Banks called CPS on me. I had hell out of him because he hated my dad. Told them to tell me he called on me. My ex beat me up, broken bones, and had to go hospital. Edison didn't get his way. Edison Banks. I know that name.
He
from
was the
Letcher County.
Commonwealth attorney.
At
I think
Letcher?
he was murdered too.
Oh, so he's deceased now.
Yep. I'll play you something later in private of his last hours. And you tell me what you think. I don't want to like contaminate your thought process with it. I'll just play you the interview and let you decide.
Yeah. So basically, what if I'm understanding what you just said, right, Stacey, is that Edison Banks targeted you via CPS because he hated your dad.
Her dad was left for dead on top of a mountain because of everything that he knew about this place.
Her dad is like me. He was kind of a safe haven for a lot of people, and so he was like me. You know, and we were obstacles that they done everything in the world to get us out of the way.
So that's because they targeted you because you were, cutting up their.
Stacey's dad was one of the best humans I've ever known in my life, and it was men like him that gave me hope that not all men were monsters.
Thank you for joining us, Stacey, and thank you for sharing.
as I was leaving.
If you want to join us up here later and have a chat, feel free. I'll send you the link.
The ambulance,
Yes,
walking out,
I'm
to see
dying
my
for her to
son,
come on.
reaching out his arms for me, and yeah, I didn't know how long it would be till I saw him again, or even if I could, but I wasn't able to say bye to him. And I just remember telling one of the paramedics, like, promise me you're going to take care of him, just promise me, because that was all I had.
No, go in the car. In the car. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. In the car.
No, I want to say bye.
You're gonna make it worse. You're gonna make it worse. Say goodbye.
In that moment, it all kind of settled in that, like, this is for real. I'm not gonna go home with my son tonight.
The emotional devastation that comes from taking a child is so severe, words can't describe it, and they count on that.
Are you going to keep him away from his son? Are you going to keep him? You're taking your son away. You are kidnapping my grandson.
Dude.
You guys are kidnapping your grandson.
Because they know on the other side that you are not going to be in the proper mental place. You don't have the emotions to fight them. You don't have the resources to fight them. You can never win.
It was almost 30 law enforcement officers that were there that night to take my son, an 8-month-old baby.
That's insane.
Almost 30 law enforcement officers just for that. Talk about malice, dude. That was insane. My father-in-law went and booked out both his daughters that night, my sister-in-law and my wife. They didn't book me for some reason. I was going to be booked because they told me I was arrested. I was in the back of the cop car, handcuffed through this whole thing. I didn't even know what was going on. They unhandcuffed me, and I looked around, and my wife is gone. The ambulance is gone. All I know is they're serving me these pink papers saying, here's your court date. And that was it.
The shelter care hearing is what will decide what happens after that. We're done, Jeff.
Medical kidnapping. This is medical kidnapping, and you guys are active participants. They just stole a baby from good parents. Medical kidnapping.
These are crimes against humanity for financial gain. Rights are removed from parents. Human rights, civil rights, and even religious rights.
That's criminal. Criminal. You're supposed to uphold the law and protect the people. You're supposed to protect the people.
You know, for almost a little more than a full hour this afternoon, St. Luke's in Boise was in lockdown after protesters disrupted hospital operations.
These protesters came at the urging of far-right activist Ammon Bundy, who claims a 10-month-old baby was kidnapped by authorities.
That night, when baby Cyrus was taken, Ammon Bundy got arrested. Ammon went to the hospital to protest, and they arrested him.
Oh my God.
And because he's running for governor, he's building traction so people know his name. But that became national news.
Ammon Bundy, who recently filed to run for governor of Idaho as an independent, once again finds himself in trouble with law enforcement.
This time because of his role in intervening and protesting a child welfare case involving a 10-month-old.
Well, that was the grandson of Bundy's friend and compatriot, Diego Rodriguez. And when the child was hospitalized by St. Luke staff for health reasons, Rodriguez and Bundy and his People's Rights Network showed up en masse outside the downtown hospital, claiming the baby was, quote, medically kidnapped.
Because we had been there for a decade, more than a decade, and I had made so many contacts, and I had a lot of contacts within government, and I had a lot of contacts with people who are political action type folks. I got home that night and I opened up my contact list and I sent mass emails to everybody on my list just in the state of Idaho, and it was thousands of people. But I also opened up my cell phone and I sent a personal message to every single contact in my phone. And Ammon went home and he also sent a mass email to everybody in the People's Rights Network. So overnight, thousands, not by exaggeration, thousands and thousands of Idahoans and people outside of Idaho knew the story of baby Cyrus overnight. By 9 or 10 the following morning, there was over 400 people in front of that hospital protesting. That's huge. That doesn't happen.
They will stay here for other people to see what this hospital is doing.
With people responding and the people that are concerned about this, what can the people do now in response?
What we need is a physical presence. We need physical pressure upon those that are causing this problem.
And it was more to it than just that. So it wasn't just a protest in front. And then I held a press conference every single day. We took out our PA system and went out there and we held a press conference and we showed everybody the news.
They told people last night and all through today they didn't have Cyrus Anderson. There was no Cyrus Anderson in the St. Luke system. And yet he is here and under state custody.
And, you know, the pictures of baby Cyrus's face being burned because they left him in a pool of his vomit. We showed that to everybody.
Cameras can see here he is with his father. This was me the next day with him. He looked like he's malnourished to you. Does he look to you like he's in danger? But last night, this is what he looks like. He's now appears malnourished. My daughter said in 2 days, he's a completely different person. He's unresponsive. That's the care that these animals are saying that he has to have by force at the point of a gun, mind you.
So we did all of that, but at the same time, we asked people to make phone calls, we asked people to send in letters, and we asked people to send in emails, and people did it. So here's the difference. How many times people say that, but nobody does anything?
Absolutely.
This time they did. For whatever reason, God inspired people, the story inspired them, whatever reason, thousands, this is not me saying this, St. Luke said this. St. Luke's, as part of the lawsuit, said that we shut down their phone system, that so many emails came in that they couldn't even do work because their emails are so flooded. If 2 people made those phone calls, nobody would care. But it was nonstop. We shut down their communications for days.
So if you guys want us to go away, I'll make it very simple for you. Give baby Cyrus back.
Behind the scenes, we have political actors, people who are in the state legislature. 6 people from the state legislature, to their credit, got up at our daily events and took the microphone and said that this is wrong.
What I've seen in video is chilling to me. I can't imagine we're at the point where we have uniformed officers ready to take a baby out of a mother's arms when they know that mother has promised that they would not be separated from their baby?
The government is not the authority of how we should parent. CPS, hospital staff, they are not the authority of how we should parent. And they have put themselves in that position between us and God.
Now think about what all we're finding out is actually in these medications and vaccines that they mandate our children to take.
We need to fix this tonight, and you as my representative need to be looking into this.
So what happens? Thousands of people at the ground level fighting and communicating shut everything down. That this is why as soon as they gave him the green light, hey, you got to get rid of that kid. He was like a hot potato, man. Get rid of him. Get rid of this kid. Get rid of this kid. Get rid of this kid. But it's only because the people all came together and all did their one little piece. And that's the thing, brother. I mean, if you get these documentaries that you're making and you get them out to millions of people,
they won't be able to stop it.
And just 10% of those people take a small action, they can't stop the railroad, bro. They can't stop the train. They can't.
All right, so what's the word? What are we hearing here?
Well, we heard somebody say praise God, and then we looked and there was a video that Channel 6 stated that he's home, and it's been confirmed from Auntie Miranda, and she is saying Cyrus is home.
All right.
It worked. It worked. Good job, guys.
Oh my God.
So
Yes.
apparently you don't need judges for justice.
Yep, we don't need judges. We need people. That's what it is.
I probably hadn't cried for probably 20 plus years until they took baby Cyrus. And then when we got him back, I wept uncontrollably, just uncontrollably. And, you know, humorously, it was captured on film because we were being interviewed by Stu Peters and his crew. Literally, Stu's sitting there like you, and I'm here, and my daughter's right next to me. And when they got the call from their lawyer, who was our family friend, and they walked down the stairs and said,
They dismissed the case.
It's over.
No gag order.
"It's done. We're done with it."
You have got to be kidding. Your gag order is Just got off the phone with our lawyers. No gag order. Cyrus is ours.
He's ours.
Because they gave baby Cyrus back after 6 days. But after they gave baby Cyrus back, he's still a ward of the state. So the state is still legally in control, and the parents couldn't do anything without the state's control. And it was not until May 4th of that year that they closed the case, and you know, baby Cyrus is free.
It was like all worldly hope was taken away to where I knew the only way through this is if the Lord works a miracle. And that's why it was the most faith building experience I've ever had, because it really felt like there was no other way out. And I recognized that we are very blessed that we had our faith, we had our family, we had my dad, connections, and all of the things necessary to get him back so quickly, because I have not heard another story that ended that well.
I could only imagine for those families who didn't necessarily have the support system, the platform, or the resources to speak out. And that's what's happening every single day in our country, in every state, pretty much every city. These families, thousands being taken advantage of, being silenced, being threatened, being abused, and families being ripped apart and torn apart.
I was completely oblivious to what was happening. I was extremely naive. I did not know the depths that people would go, CPS, social workers, law officers would take to take a kid from a parent and put them in this system, as we call it, right?
Our case was a miracle. What happened here was a miracle. People don't get their kids back. It does not happen. And if they do get their kids back, they get their kids back messed up, PTSD, loaded with drugs, vaccinated. So that doesn't happen. It does happen. It doesn't happen every time. Whether it happens every time or not, kids don't get molested every time either, but there's a strong likelihood that they could. Is that how you want to roll the dice?
It has been reported over and over that 6 times as many children die in foster care than in the general public. Once a child is legally kidnapped and placed in official safety, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation and or rape.
The things that Nancy Schaefer was warning about 15 years ago are still happening.
It's gone on for so long and hasn't changed. It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I mean,
it's terrifying for all parents, because parents with young kids might be scared to go to the ER if something happens to one of their kids.
If you have a child that actually needed to go into the hospital, and if your fear is that if I take my child into the hospital,
Children's Protective Services might take my child away from me. What are you creating?
We believe that there are fewer actual abusers that are getting caught, because it's not about finding abusers. It's about looking for a kid that has something that you can potentially label abuse. Well, an abuser is probably more likely to try to do things to cover their tracks. And if
like hit kids in the stomach.
All sorts of things. And so what ends up happening is, instead of caseworkers being able to look at cases that are put in front of them more holistically, because they have fewer cases they're looking at and they can really dive into it to see if they really think there's abuse or neglect going on, instead they're like these accusation mills. They have to be run through, and I'm sure that they convince themselves that they have to break some eggs to make their omelet. Eggs meaning entire families that get destroyed and put in prison.
88% of the children taken from parents are not from physical abuse or sexual abuse. It's for neglect. And neglect is anything the government says it is.
And this is now, if you know anything about the government doesn't tell the truth about themselves. If they're giving you numbers about themselves, it's worse. It's way worse. So they're really
poverty equals neglect in most of their opinions.
Let me just read it. This is their own report. It says this, that the remainder of the children investigated, 83.3%, were found to be non-victims of maltreatment. So they said out of every 1,000 kids that we took in CPS nationwide, 833 of them, there was no abuse. They were not victims of any poor treatment whatsoever. The kids were just taken from their parents because we can. And it's not just because we can, because we're financially incentivized to do it. We get paid.
You know, when I was hired, the people who hired me said, you're not a hired gun.
You're not a hired gun.
And I said, well, finally, finally.
Exactly.
Over 20 years. And what I do is they said, just tell us the truth. Tell us what
we
you
want
see.
the truth.
So then I'll go and observe the visits. And I'm telling you, 80% of the time, what I see is completely different than what's in the
Than what they
DCFS
actually
report.
report. You see a beautiful family. You see a close bond.
It seems like CPS targets the good families to take their children and ignores the bad families where children are actually being abused. Could that really be?
The government has been targeting Christian families, right-wing families, conservative families, anti-vaxxers, homeschoolers, people who listen to Ryan Matta, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, right-wingers. If you associate with the right wing, they target you because they know you believe in God. They know that you have some form of faith.
A family says DCF came into their home in the middle of the night and took their children. They say the state separated them for weeks, even though they did nothing wrong.
You say that during the investigation, you were repeatedly asked about your religion?
Yeah, I think it was really certainly disturbing to us to see how often it came up.
Understand that this is getting bigger and bigger, as you may have CPS get involved simply because of this transgender issue in public schools.
Child Protective Services have already been weaponized to look at parents like us, loving parents who believe in biological reality, that we are abusive because we accept our daughters in their perfectly natural bodies. And that's terrifying.
The attack on parental rights, that if you don't follow a certain ideology, that you can be in violation of discrimination.
These people think, like Joe Biden said, that these are their children while they're there. No, they're not.
They may use CPS as an additional wedge to put between you and your kids, to take away your kids so they can transition them.
My daughter was almost put on it. It started with an art club. And then all of a sudden CPS was in my home. And then all of a sudden I learned that the groomers who were in the classroom are licensed social workers and caseworkers. And they've got a network of affirming families who will transition your children once they can remove them from your home. And I have been in contact with multiple parents, both who have kids who are still missing, who've been trafficked, and parents who've gotten their kids off of that conveyor belt, but who were vilified by Child Protective Services and these NGOs for not affirming the confusion.
So everybody in this environment is at danger if you got your kids in a public school.
Get them out of these schools.
Then, of course, if you're homeschooling, that's a different way that they might come after you.
DC public school parents are opting to keep their children home during the start of the school year without official approval.
And some of those parents tell the News 4 I-Team the school district has started reporting them to Child and Family Services for educational neglect.
It won't be nothing. Like when we say they do it for nothing, there's always something written, but it's the things we're talking about. The dogs were running around out of control. They're homeschooled, which they call educational neglect. So they write on there. Medical neglect means they're not vaccinated, but they'll say medical neglect. And then so when you break it down, what was it? Well, we found out they weren't vaccinated, so we know they're medically neglecting their kid. And that is exactly all it takes. Now they take your kid away from you. As soon as they take that child away from you, the funding begins. Now they get funds. If you go with your kid to the hospital, there's no funds. They have to separate you.
Oh, so if baby Cyrus's mom would have went with him in that ambulance and stayed with the
They
child,
get no money.
but they knew that just as they had to take her,
Have to do it.
and they instantly got money.
You have to separate the child. Otherwise, the law doesn't even apply. There's no application of the law if mom is there.
Okay, but that is going to entail that he goes with us in the ambulance.
No.
And you leave. If
No.
it doesn't happen, then we arrest you.
And now you know, because people ask, because they've seen the video. They've seen the video and they go, why wouldn't that cop let Marissa go? And she goes, Marissa asked, what harm is there in me just being there when we go to the hospital?
How am I in danger to him if I'm just watching and I'm with him?
Well, we're going to go ahead and go with just what I just told you, okay?
So you're gonna
this
take
is,
no.
Listen,
No, I
this
can't.
is what we're going to do, okay? So this is
Well, we just made this determination. Well, who made this determination? Well, I did. Well, why? Well, this is just what we said we're going to do. So here's your paperwork, and you're under arrest. And if you look on the paperwork, it says, well, what proof or evidence is there that this child was neglected? And it says, this child has never come under CPS before and is not part of our system. And it's like, what? That's not even the answer to the question. Exactly. And nobody cares until it happens to them. And nobody cares because as soon as anybody talks about it, the media comes down so hard and they paint the picture as if the family has done something wrong.
The case of a child taken into medical custody in March because doctors were worried about his health.
Medical personnel determined the baby was severely malnourished.
A 10-month-old who was severely malnourished.
Police say the baby was severely malnourished.
What do you want the government to do? So it's doctors that look at the baby and go, uh-oh, it's so malnourished, it might die. Of course you gotta go find the baby to save its life.
The parents should be investigated. Like, let's keep it real. What is going on?
And of
course, it's very easy to paint the pictures that the family's done something wrong because the news headlines are always going to favor what the police said, what the doctors said, what the hospital said. And then now all of a sudden you have to defend yourself that you're not someone who is neglecting your child. But the police report says you were neglecting your child. The judge agreed you were neglecting your child. The doctor looked at it and the doctor said he's totally neglecting his child. And then when you actually read the report says, yeah, he's neglecting his child. And the proof is, well, there is no proof. We just said so. We've got the reports to show you that's what they said about my grandson.
Here's the report showing that they planned on quickly transferring baby Cyrus to foster parents at the hospital. Here's a medical record that reads, just go. This is a healthy baby with no interventions. Here's a further report about baby Cyrus stating, no acute life threats noted. Body cam footage verifies this. Rachel Thomas is caught on camera multiple times stating that baby Cyrus is a healthy baby.
I'm a chief of staff for one of the hospitals. We just are going to break some protocols and take an ambulance to different entrance because it's a medically stable patient. And we're going to do it quietly.
But how acutely?
Oh no, he's totally stable. He's totally stable.
In other words, the baby is not in imminent danger of death or harm.
Remember, this entire case is predicated on the false premise that baby Cyrus was, in their terminology, in such imminent danger.
He has made the decision to declare imminent danger, okay? So I really don't want to make this worse on you. I would like to get him the help that he needs right now.
So because baby Cyrus, according to them, was just so critically in need of medical attention that he needed to be supervised by professional licensed medical doctors, we need to rip him away from his nursing mother and put him in a hospital. But they admitted right here that had nothing to do with it. They admitted that from the moment they ripped him out of his mother's arms, they had intention of putting him directly into foster care.
Because then that's a few more degrees of separation. Keep them overnight, and then sometime tomorrow, when they don't know, get the baby out with CPS to the foster parents, and it's going to make it a little easier to.
How are you guys?
Ambulance. What I want.
Proving that it was a fraud from the get-go and the entire premise is a lie. They'll have to answer for this in court.
The Dr. Rachel Thomas told the jury, quote, The baby would have died if they would not have taken him. She then
She should
flat
lose her
out lied
license.
to the jury about baby Cyrus. She said, quote, "He looked like a baby from Haiti. The baby's stomach was descended, his eyes were hollowed, and he was unable to sit up." But look at baby Cyrus. Look at him. Does he look like he's a malnutrition baby from Haiti? Does he look like these babies? Yet, to the jury, she testified under oath that he did, that he looked like a baby from Haiti. Here are pictures from St. Luke's own medical records, just hours after they took him. He's playing, looking healthy, and sitting up, just opposite of what Rachel Thomas told the jury. See, this is the problem with people like Rachel Thomas. They are revered by the public because they are doctors and professionals, but they have no scruples. They are liars.
Many incredible parts of this story, right? Right wingers.
There's no
fucking
government
psychopaths,
conspiracy
what they
about that
are.
one particular baby in the middle of Idaho. You lunatics. And by the way, feed the baby and give it back to the parents. Like, we don't.
Your son he's sick. He doesn't have an actual illness, but he can't keep food down. And the only thing that he can keep down is your breast milk. They take him from you. How long did your son go without the food that he needed and the nutrients that he needed before you were able to get him that breast milk?
So it was a few days at first in the beginning, and the doctors from the hospital called me the next day and said that he hadn't eaten since they brought him in. He's refusing to drink anything from the bottle. They even said, yeah, we know he just needs his mom, but they wouldn't let us go in and see him.
They still wouldn't?
They still wouldn't. And what they ended up having to do is they put a feeding tube through his nose to feed him through the feeding tube because he refused bottle feeds. So that is how he got fed until I was able to get in there. And he even kept that tube in for several weeks, even after we got him back. And then we also later found out that they left Cyrus in the hospital room alone throughout the day. He was there for days. They didn't have someone in there, at all times watching him. And when he threw up, you need to be there to wipe him up. We always held him. We'd wipe him up, keep him clean. But he would lay in a pool of his own vomit. One of the medical records says that a nurse came in and found him laying in his vomit. And then when we got our first visitation with him, we could see the acid burns on his cheeks from laying in that. So, and all the while, my husband and I are standing outside the hospital just waiting to come in. And, we care for him 24/7. We stay up through the night with him. We sit upright, clean him, and they just didn't even properly care for him.
Look, if the parents are doing nothing wrong, then sure, after the baby receives treatment that's necessary, release the child to the parents. I want nothing more than a child to be with his or her parents.
You don't get your kids back most of the time. And it's because it's the provision in the law. They don't want you to get your kid back. Don't tell me they want you to get your kid back when they're telling you that it's a requirement by the law to file for a termination of parental rights. It's in the law. This is not Diego saying. And here's the humorous stuff about this stuff. He's like, oh, that guy is a conspiracy theorist. What's a conspiracy when I'm reading to you from the law? Look it up yourself. This is the law. This is not my opinion. I'm not opining because I'm an angry grandfather because they kidnapped my kid. I am an angry grandfather because they kidnapped my grandkid, but I'm just telling you what the law says.
The entire CPS machine pivots on one linchpin, the unchallenged word of a doctor, their golden calf, worshipped by judges, lawyers, and district attorneys. Hospitals, they're greased with financial kickbacks. Flag a homeschool parent or an anti-vax parent as neglectful, and you cash in when CPS rips their kid into the foster care system.
But due to the protesters surrounding the hospital regarding this case, it was felt that discharge with the foster family from the emergency department was unsafe for all involved. You guys literally saved baby Cyrus from being put into the foster care system that Friday night.
In our case, they had baby Cyrus for 3 days in the hospital and then 3 days in the actual Idaho Department of Health and Welfare building. So he was only in the hospital for 3 days. We have in part of the testimony in the lawsuit that they saw receipts to Medicare or Medicaid for $30,000.
How are these guardian ad litem's getting by in the courtroom diagnosing these kids with medical conditions or not medical conditions, but basically saying, well, this kid did, X, Y, and Z when they're not medical? They They have a lot. They're just a lawyer.
They're going on the report.
You know, well, I don't know. It's just suspicious because you interview the kids and you know, I just wonder like how much diagnosing, you know, do they, or how much their word goes in with the judge, you know, with what the decision that the judge makes.
They're the ones that are there for
the best. Yeah, they're the like basically attorney for the child.
Yep. They hold
So,
a lot of weight.
you know, they're putting a whole lot into what she's saying when she's just a lawyer. She's not medical, you know.
Well, I got it right to be lawyers, but they have to have a psychology experience as well, type of thing. They've got to have both. They've got to be able to communicate effectively and non-biased with the child as well, and you know, present that to the court.
But
Yeah, this baby, the only thing that stopped them from fucking going to foster care was because there was too many people out the front and they couldn't sneak him out. That's it. The only fucking thing that saved him.
assholes. Yeah, because you know, and we don't solidarity. We don't have that solidarity yet. Not yet.
That's what we're aiming for. Starting in London on the 3rd of March. We coming, Sabrina.
$30,000 for 3 days, $10,000 a day. Literally. Just do the math. Guess how long most kids are there?
Months.
Yeah, months. And then they're part of the system for years.
By the way, they've said, and this was recently, that he was.
You guys actually have to go and watch this Take Care of Maya. Yeah.
Like ready to be released to a foster home.
But we're not going to release this baby to you because he needs to be hospitalized, but yet we're going to give him to this foster family, and they were caught because it's all in the medical records. So what is this really about, I guess, is the question.
See what happens for those that don't know, when you take a child away from its parents and put it into the Child Protective Services custody, they get a big fat paycheck for.
At the very least, they could have taken her breast milk in and fed him that. Yeah? Fuck.
When you take them from Child Protective Services,
He wouldn't have assumed it's medically fragile if he'd done that. He wouldn't have had the medically fragile tag.
Fed him the one thing that makes his illness worse. They put a tube in his stomach to force feed him the one food that he was not allowed to have. Formula. And did you see the studies in Florida? What's in the fucking formula? Oh, I'm living.
Best interest because.
Listen, they did that with all of my children. They force fed them formula. They wouldn't let them leave the hospital until they took them back in the back and gave them formula. It didn't matter whether you put it in writing and tell them 1,000 times, breastfeed only, do not give my child formula. They come back with fucking dried formula all up in their neck creases and shit. They give it to them anyway. They're evil. They're fucking evil.
My children were both lactose intolerant, so they could only tolerate breast milk. They only had just brought out, I think, a lactose-free formula, and it was fucking disgusting. So yeah, no, mine were brought up on breast milk. They couldn't tolerate it at all, which is good. Oh, I just had the hottest fucking thing when my nose was running. Oh.
a paycheck for that. And then there's more paychecks that keep coming, and it is literally millions and millions of dollars.
And it's no longer helping children and just getting them a better jump start in life. It's nothing like that anymore. It's a for-profit scheme.
When attorney Ron Hines looked into it and filed a wrongful death lawsuit, he found the Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services paying a private company to place children in foster homes. Private companies place about half of the children in state care into foster homes now.
Simply for finding, recruiting people who want to be foster parents. These private firms are making so many dollars per head per kid. So it's a vicious cycle. The more kids, the more money.
You want to rip them out of one family that you don't get money from and put them in the hands of another family that you do get money from. Well, that tells us exactly what you're doing this for.
And it's come out in the news, all these family court judges are getting illegal kickbacks from the private CPS facilities because they're getting federal funds, and they pay the judges, in some cases, millions of dollars apiece. That's all this is a bounty on your children.
And we've talked about this kangaroo court type system that CPS uses. It's not even really a court with real judges. It's all just bad actors enabling this child trafficking operation.
This process, which is civil in nature, not criminal, so you aren't even entitled to all of the same rights that you are. Actually, a criminal has more rights than you do in a CPS case.
So, for example, all the due process rights that you and I have to be able to face your accusers, to be able to have a fair and speedy trial, to be able to have evidence presented before you, all the stuff that we have that's considered due process, that are our constitutional rights, they're all out the door when it comes to a CPS case. With a CPS case, you are being accused of neglecting your child, but you don't get to face the people who have accused you. No evidence has to be told. The entire court case is private. So within 24 to 40 hours, it's private, closed doors, and the judge will give you a gag order that says, Ryan, if you ever mention anything that happened in this courtroom, we're going to make sure you never see your kid again, ever. And you'll go to jail because you'll be in contempt of court because we're going to gag order you.
Wow, how familiar does that sound?
How long have you got Coburger?
Any other legal proceeding, if you robbed a bank, you have more rights than if somebody wants to take your kid. And not just somebody, the government themselves. If you rob a bank, it's going to be a public case. It's going to go on the record. Everybody's going to know everything. Evidence has to be presented against you. Real evidence. Nothing can be hearsay. When it comes to a CPS case, it's all hearsay. There's no evidence. None of it has to be presented to you. It's all in secret. Nobody ever knows. The judge doesn't have to look at real evidence. It just says whatever they want to say.
The reason for this is obvious. If you can be prosecuted, tried, and sentenced 100% in secret, and nobody knows what is going on, then any and all manner of corruption, abuse, and tyranny can take place. And guess what else? Marissa and Levi are now under a gag order, so they cannot describe or share any of the details of what happened yesterday.
That's taking away your...
There you go. The second you've got something to say bad against them, they whack a gag order on you. Why do you think that fucking, in my other case, they've locked this innocent man up for 35 consecutive life sentences and then put a 99-year gag order on the investigation stuff? Fuckers.
Constitutional rights as an
fucking
American.
ridiculous. There is no excuse for that.
Now, they had a 25-year one. It was actually, a 30-year one. It was due to be released in April this year. But when Paul Motor is one of the main people that started investigating, he was actually going to do a documentary on this person because of the biggest mass shooting in Australia. And when he started researching it, he found that the things that he was reading in the media were completely different to what he was finding in the very little documentation that he could find, and in the police interviews and the attorney interviews. And so he said, well, I can't write a documentary until I get to the bottom of it. 9 years later, he's still doing it, but he's exposed what has been a massive cover-up and blame on this guy. And then as soon as he started asking for documents, they whacked another 75 years on. A gag. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
Wow.
And poor bastard has an IQ of 66, so he's mentally 10 years old and has no idea what the fuck he's done because he doesn't understand it. And he's had to sit there and think about it for 30 years already.
Now, is that your MK Ultra episodes?
Yep.
Yep. That's what it sounds like, MK Ultra. I think they're doing it to you all. The same fucking thing they've been doing to us. The fake media, the fake news, the mental programming.
He had
the cover-ups, the fucking cover-ups,
Yeah.
sealed documents and shit. Lord have mercy.
When he was born in like the late 60s, there was very little known about ADHD then, so we didn't have any treatment protocols as such. And
Did you know that that's a vaccine injury?
ADHD.
Yes, and it's enhanced by certain food dyes like red number 40, heavy metals like aluminum and things like that. Those trigger it. That triggers the symptoms, but the disorder itself is a vaccine injury. 100% of children, non-vaccinated children, that's on the list of things that they never have, along with autism and a bunch of autoimmune disorders. It's a vaccine
all of
injury.
my nephews have ADHD, and my daughter does as well. But my eldest niece, my daughter hadn't been diagnosed at the time. She was only, I think, 2. But my eldest niece was 6 at the time. And she came over for a birthday party, and I made the mistake of giving her red fucking cordial. Well, Christ almighty. She was bouncing off the walls. It was like insane.
That's another thing. We can also look at the Amish communities and see the difference, like, you know, in like children, like their cases of autism and things like that, because they don't pull with these.
They don't have the medical problems and cancer rates and stuff we do either.
Yeah.
No, they don't. And people don't realize, you know, pay attention, pay real close attention to how they live and exist, and how their rate of certain diseases and stuff compared to us. And we're living, you know, door to door with each other.
That'd be really
They saw the Matrix coming a long time ago.
Amish incidents of ADHD and autism.
While you're looking that up, somebody just sent me something. It says after a decade of bringing foster children into her home, Jen Mortensen put her foster license on hold, not because she stopped caring, because she realized the system was broken in ways that caring for kids one at a time couldn't fix. Now she's suing the state cabinet for Health and Family Services and writing legislation to close gaps that she says are costing children's lives. Her biggest concerns are babies born on drugs aren't getting the required plans of safe care, child deaths aren't preventing other kids from being placed with the same caregivers, and social family over keeping them, and social services workers prioritize keeping kids with family over keeping them safe even when serious red flags exist. So they prioritize keep them with the family when the red flags are present, but they will send more children into homes of where other children have died from neglect or abuse.
Yeah.
So she's testifying to that, and she's going to help write legislation, I guess, to do it. Jen Mortensen. I got a link here. Oh, I think it's.
Have you seen all of this this documentary, Tyre?
Do what?
Have you seen this whole documentary?
No. Not all of it. I haven't seen the end.
Because we've still got another half hour. I'm just wondering if it's because it's starting to get a little bit repetitive over that story. Wondering if it's what else we've got.
I don't know. Let's finish it out.
Yeah, I'll just bump it to 125.
Okay. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's get
Which is what that is.
Absolutely.
That should be illegal. It should be outlawed. It should be, because it's just used as a weapon, as leverage against you. Just silence. You don't have the ability to defend yourself in the public eye.
Absolutely.
And they're out there running hit pieces in the media. They're slandering your family. They're painting you out to be the most evil villain, and you
Absolutely.
can't even talk and defend yourself.
And that's the only way, really, that they've been able to get away with this for so long. Because a lot of people ask, like, how do we not know this? How do we not know this? Because every single last person who goes through this is gagged. They cannot speak. And most people don't have the resources or the wherewithal even to fight back. And it destroys and breaks apart families. That's what they do.
And they're done chewing through the poor people. Now they're getting into the middle class because they grabbed so many. And it's always weirdo judges, you know, don't have any kids with the butch haircuts, just up there, just life-hating demons who've got giant prisons of the pack, people that feed into the system.
So our attorneys were actually working through the night since the night Cyrus was taken, gathering all the evidence, everything they needed, character witness letters, evidence of all the money we had paid out of pocket for Cyrus's medical appointments, paying doctors, pretty much everything you can need to overprove that this was not a neglect case. And we went in there pretty hopeful. We were represented by our attorneys, and I remember seeing the judge, the family court judge, look at the papers, look over at everything that she had, all the evidence, let us speak. We even had our doctor, our naturopathic doctor, speak for us. He was in there as a witness. And after looking over everything, she glances over at her screen and reads off basically a verdict that said that after looking at all the evidence, I am ruling that Levi Mercy Anderson, that there is reasonable cause to suspect there is abuse and neglect, and that we have to keep him in state custody. And so there was she had something that was pre-written, and no matter what evidence we brought forth, there was nothing we could do. The decision was made before we even put our case for before we even presented our evidence.
And this is Tuesday at the shelter care
Yes.
interview? Okay, I just
At
want
the
to make sure I'm
shelter care
on
hearing.
tracking this right.
Yes, the shelter care hearing.
It's an administrative tribunal. It is operating outside of the
Oh, that's
Constitution,
not bad. That's
outside
what
of
I'm
everyone's
doing.
constitutional right to have a trial by jury, to be able to face their accusers. There's a very arbitrary standard
Wait.
of evidence.
Hey guys,
in
can we
deciding-
pause for a second? Leah's on the phone. I need to hear what she says real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Do you want to?
And Jim Stevens just standing there smoking a cigar, as big as Dylan's forearm. Like he ain't got a.
Oh my goodness. I thought I was unmuted. Here, tell us again. Tell me one more time.
We were coming down the back road, from Dorton to Burdine, and they had the road blocked off. A bunch of firefighters and Jim Stevens was standing there in the road waving people by with a big cigar in his mouth.
Strange occurrences. And, we were just talking about Jim Stevens this morning too.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about him.
Yeah,
one
we're
day.
going to talk about him soon. You seen him yesterday?
I was talking about him yesterday.
Oh, was he? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to dig into him soon. So, yeah, if anybody's traveling through Dorton, Jenkins area, be aware there's some fire trucks and Jim Stevens smoking a cigar on the middle of the road.
Like a sly bastard.
Like a sly bastard. So, be aware of your surroundings in your travels.
All you gotta do is say Jim Stevens back home, and everybody knows. Everybody knows.
We're on live, so you called just in time. So I heard Jim Stevens. I was like, wait a minute, I gotta unmute my mic and see what this is. See what is going on.
No, it's just him being
They're not stopping traffic or anything. They're just waving people by.
I mean, like, we had to stop for a second, and then they just waved us by. I don't know what they're doing, but
He's lurking, y'all. He's lurking.
Are they looking for?
Might be looking for somebody, looking for a vehicle or something.
maybe.
Oh, there's the crow. Thank you, Mr. Crow. Go home, Leah.
I am.
Right now.
We're almost to, like, the silica mine right before the house.
Okay, call me when you get there.
Hi, Leah.
Love you.
It's
They said hello.
Bye, baby girl.
It's Jody and Brandy.
Hi, Leah.
She hung up. She's going to call when she gets home. She'll be there in a
You know,
minute.
it's sad that we got to be this way with our kids, with all this, the way things are. But, you know, things are so crazy and the way they happen to us that you have to say, go home. Go, you know, because we don't want nothing to happen to them and more than what's already happened.
Mr. Crow's got a lot to say. I'm
So who's Jim
enjoying
Stevens?
my time outside. It is 60 degrees out here. And my blood has been frozen for weeks. So I'm ready to lay and soak it in the sun. So, okay, she's pulling in at home now. So she's safe. We can go ahead and proceed.
All right.
Let her
Who is
process
Jim-
for a minute. Do what?
Who is Jim Stevens?
He is the Jenkins City Police Chief. Is that right?
Yes, he's a snarky, he's a super trooper. He thinks he's this big badass kind of. He is
tried
basically
to
Portrait County.
get me to go camping with him by himself once, with no parents or anybody else. Just the two of them camping in the woods.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said, sweetheart.
I said he tried to get my 14-year-old nephew to go camping in the woods with him alone. Jim Stevens did.
Yeah, he's
older now. He's 20 now. When he was 14 years old, Jim Stevens tried to get him to go on a camping trip alone with him.
I think I remember you saying something about that the other day.
Yeah. Yep.
my one and only
motherfuckers,
man. My one and only interaction with the police was with him, and it was horrible, horrifying.
Why? What happened?
I was falsely arrested in the first place. Everything got threw out and stuff, but he left us in a car with the windows like barely cracked in summertime for like six hours or so. I tried explaining to him I had MS, kind of take it easy on me. He threatened to tase me. I didn't have a good, as soon as he seen my last name, he had already had a pretty rough interaction with me because of my son. So I'm not one of his favorite people. So he was enjoying it.
He gets to.
Yeah, it's part of it. It was like it could be a lot worse. So you just let them treat you for whatever just to get, that whole I'm not really safe feeling. But I don't think anybody's
mom.
All right. Shall we go?
He's just a bad cop.
All right.
Arbitrarily what is or is not evidence. Frankly, they're not even really operating as judges. They're operating in concert with Child Protective Services to be both the investigator, the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
How is that justice? How is that not criminal? And don't be delusional and act like they're just trying to protect the privacy of the child. That's nonsense. First of all, everybody knows he's Baby Cyrus. Secondarily, Baby Cyrus is not on trial. His parents are, and they are being falsely accused.
There are laws regarding confidentiality to protect the family, but we would argue that the state uses those laws to avoid making information public.
Right now, they just hide behind confidentiality. And so no one can get the information. There really literally is not information available.
In environments covered with confidentiality laws that protect the wrong people. Fathers are victims of this unjust system. 3 fathers, of whom I am aware and have been in touch with, committed suicide because they lost the opportunity to even visit with their children.
It is not up to this court or those people to decide what the proper diagnosis or treatment is. It's our parents. We shouldn't even be making that decision. We shouldn't even be here, Judge.
Just gonna dial it down.
Okay, can I ask you one other question? Sure. Is there any way that even just momentarily she could just see her mom just to like hug her mother?
I'm afraid not. Not today.
And the Kowalski say that separation caused Maya's mother to take her own life.
Maya says her mother was desperate to help, but when the state separated her from her mom, Maya says that desperation led to her mother's suicide.
At 2 a.m, I broke out in tears. I was just crying uncontrollably.
That was the day Maya Kowalski's mother, Beata, took her own life. Maya was at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, separated from her family for 3 months. Before she even knew about her mom's suicide, Maya had a sickening feeling and called a nurse.
And I told her, I miss my mom. I miss my mom. I love my mom. I want to go home to my mom. Turns out she ended her life.
Maya's emotional testimony went from heartbreak to anger as she described the amount of time she was allowed to spend with her family that day.
It was actually so unbelievably cruel, the amount of time.
That fucking woman, Sally Smith, there is an absolute evil. I mean, look at her face. Evil piece of shit.
You can see it in her eyes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And now, Maya had a rare thing. Well, they didn't know a great deal about it then, which was complex regional pain syndrome. And it would cause her legs to become interned as well. So it affected all the muscles as well, which was a classic sign of it. And so what had happened was the parents had like gone and gotten all of this information and diagnosis, and the treatment recommended for it was a ketamine infusion, because the ketamine basically resets your central nervous system and it provides a really good pain relief, but it's got to be done under controlled conditions. At the time she was diagnosed, it hadn't been approved yet in America. So the parents went to Mexico to have it done with a registered, professional. So, but the dosage that they needed to use, and they have killed back on that dosage now, because they actually put her into almost a coma with it. Whereas they've realised that you don't need to go that deep into it. So they had it all, it was all on video. I went through to the trial. But she got I think 4 years of pain relief from that. So when it reoccurred and when she was a little bit older and they took her to Johns Hopkins Hospital, or Children's Hospital, they knew what the treatment was for her. And when they told that to the doctors and nurses in the ED department, they immediately thought, well, that's a huge amount. That's unsafe, rah, 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 and immediately went straight to Munchausen's by proxy. So from there, basically, because the mother was a nurse as well, they immediately targeted her because she did all the speaking. She was the advocate for her, obviously. And so she was not allowed to see the child. The father was. Now, this is an all-American family. The father was a firefighter. The mother was a nurse. She immigrated from Russia, and she had experienced a lot of the issues in Russia that she was fighting against, and one of the reasons why she came to America. So for her to stand up for her child was something that she felt she had to do, as you would, and she was very passionate about it and very vocal. And they just took that as more evidence. So she wasn't allowed to come into the hospital. They were Catholics, and they regularly went every Sunday went to church and took the Eucharist, and the mother would send the Eucharist into the hospital. The hospital would throw everything in the bin, thinking that it was laced with ketamine. Birthday cakes thrown in the bin, ketamine, and then they didn't believe that she actually had this syndrome. So what they would do while she was in the hospital, she was in an isolated room, in bed, of course, she couldn't stand up and walk. She was wheelchair bound. They would put her commode 5 feet away from the bed and had a camera in that room just so that they could try and catch her walking and getting to that commode and prove that they were right. And unfortunately, they were fucking wrong. So this poor child soiled that bed, I don't know how many times, before they actually realised, well, they didn't realise that she was telling the truth, but they didn't ever let the mother come back in. And after she'd been told for, 3 months down the track, she ended her own life because she felt that she was the only thing stopping her daughter from coming home. And as soon as the mother did that, they did release her home. And so that was an 8-week.
That's so heartbreaking.
Oh, it's horrible. It was an 8-week trial almost, and she got the biggest allocated settlement ever. And it was huge. I can't remember. It was like something 56 million or something, even more actually. But Johns Hopkins Hospital have refused to pay it and have appealed it. So it's still in the appeal process. But that money is actually accruing interest every single day.
Wow.
That this is and Recovery Addict, there's another YouTuber, massive YouTuber, he's fantastic. He covered it. He actually set up a timer, like a calculator, an interest calculator on it. I'll try and find it and I'll show it to you once we get past this. But yeah, this says the Sally Smith that was in for 10 minutes to assess her, didn't introduce herself to the family or Maya, and basically said, no, she's got the state. Oh, fucking sad.
They allocated for me to spend with my family after hearing such awful news.
I have witnessed such injustice and harm brought to so many families that I am not sure if reform of the system is even possible. The system cannot be trusted. It does not serve the people. It obliterates families and children simply because it has the power to do so.
Everything they know about the CPS system is a lie. 100% of everything they've been told is a lie. It's corrupt. Not only corrupt, it is rotten to its core and it cannot be saved or fixed. Period. End of sentence. It just needs to go away and be destroyed. You don't even need child protection acts in any single state, because if you abuse a child, That's already against the law.
100%.
It's already assault and battery. You already can be arrested. We already can. You don't need additional bureaucracies to protect children, because the laws that protect me from you beating me up and me from beating you up protect my children from me beating them up and anybody beating anybody up. You don't need new bureaucracies. You don't need new funding mechanisms. This exists solely for the kidnap of children.
To give the government the power to take your child, period.
That's
End of story.
It
Nothing
just
to do.
exists so the government has cover. They always have the power. You want the power is their gun.
Yep.
Their gun, they say, give me your kid. But now they have legal cover
to keep your kid.
To take them and to keep them and to say, we didn't do anything wrong.
I think everybody here is on the same page. I don't think anybody here is like, hey, if some jerk is beating on his kid or somebody is molesting some child, well, we don't want anybody to step in. No, we want that abuse to stop. But guess what? With the optics that these organizations have for these kind of cases right here, you are not, let me look into the cameras. You guys are not going to get the support you want for those real cases that are important, because you insist that you control and own everybody when you don't. You have no power or authority over anybody who is not putting their children in any imminent danger.
If a child protection services were to ever lie in a court of law, what rights do the parents have?
Well, it's sad to say this, but it's very common that the workers will make misrepresentations under oath, even in their written records as well as when they're testifying.
Your predators are lying on record, making things up, making us predators, making the mother a predator.
These are the kids you guys kidnapped. See them? Look at them. Malika and Zaya. See? Our bond. And you guys want to break that?
Thank you. We will now proceed to
Yes,
closed
I
session.
bet you will. You need to do something about it. You want to know why they want it confidential? That's why. It's because they don't want people to know that children are being abused in the custody of the county. And you guys, that's what you should be stopping. And you're not. And you're going to get more money to traffic children.
This is abuse of power. It is lack of accountability. And it is a growing criminal political phenomenon spreading around the globe.
Nancy, it's good to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's good to be on with you.
What you gave in that speech, I know you've given a lot, but I saw this particular speech of you, I believe, before the Eagle Forum, really laying out the facts of just how unconstitutional and Kafkaesque the CPS is.
Right. Well, it is unconstitutional, and the Department of Child Protective Services has become a protected empire built on taking children and separating families. As a matter of fact, I could throw in here now that it appears to me that the family is going to have to be destroyed in order for the one world government to completely develop.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
So we needed a new world order. Global governance and global agreements.
Our country is going through a transition, a new world order.
A new world order.
Novus Order Seclorum, a new order.
A new world order.
The creation of a new world order.
But as I've been telling you, common sense and tradition in America are under assault by powerful secular progressive forces.
I want to talk about what matters most in our lives and in our nation, children and families. Yes, it takes a village.
Someone brought me a copy out of the library of Hillary's book, It Takes a Village, by Hillary Clinton. It takes a village to raise a child, all about children and what our responsibility toward children are. And I think many of the statements in this book are not only wrong, but they're corrupt and maybe even evil. They're evil, they're wicked, they're destructive. So here are the quotes. The government must declare the child to be the most precious treasure of the people. All right, now we'll go to the next page. The government's concern belongs more to the child than to the adult. What do you think of that? And then the last one is that the government's financial irresponsibility turns the blessing of children into a curse for the parents. That the government should help parents so that their children would be a blessing and not a curse. All right, now this book here, can you see it? I have it in my hands. It Takes a Village by Hillary Clinton. Could you see that? Yeah. You know what somebody did? Jerry, did you do this? Somebody put Hillary's book cover on top of an old book. This is not Hillary's. Oh my, look at this book. I can't even believe it. Can we zoom in on this book, please? Do you see this, Tom? Let me show you the title.
That's wrong.
Let me show you the title page here.
That's wrong.
Let me show you the title page. Adolf Hitler wrote this book, Mein Kampf, a long time ago. He was a wicked and evil man. And if you go through this book, you'll find incredible similarities. Incredible. Not all of it, of course, but incredible similarities with Hillary Clinton and the whole liberal crew that they position themselves as child advocates, defenders of child rights. Why do they do that?
read from social workers' own dominant textbook used in most colleges. The #1 textbook, Arthur Calhoun's A Social History of the American Family, teaches young social workers, and I quote, "The family goes back to the age of savagery, while the state belongs to the age of civilization." And it goes on to say that the family will end so world government can have its way with a socialist commonwealth. This is their own top textbook. They're not even hiding this. They got a hit out on the American family, and they've sold you that it's okay. Hitler couldn't agree more.
We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investments.
There it is. Finally, someone said it.
Finally. My kids do not belong to me. My kids are not my kids. They are the community kids.
Yes.
So I don't really have responsibility for my kids. I can look to the state to also take that responsibility and quite honestly, that burden from me. I'm watching this video. Now, remember, gang, this is a promo for MSNBC. This is not somebody just getting on and they can just say, oh, well, you know what? I was just kind of not really thinking when I said it. This is not a mistake. This is the announcement of where they're headed.
This is truly a battle of good versus evil. Our children are the target, and millions of people in government, in our education, our healthcare systems, our mental health, our child protective systems are complicit in the agenda.
And it says the family is the enemy of the state and must be broken down. The family is bad. We must destroy it. Get their children.
And this is exactly why they don't want you to have access to your kid again. They don't want you getting access to your kid. This is actually part of the ASPA law. It says right here, in the case of a child who has been in foster care under the responsibility of the state for 15 of the most recent 22 months, it's a requirement. It says the state shall file a petition to terminate the parental rights of the child's parents. So if they can get your kid for 15 months, you'll never see them ever again, ever. You don't even know where they are, who they're with. You've lost all parental rights. They took God's heritage away from you because of the law that Hillary Clinton championed and Bill Clinton signed in 1997. And everybody from the hospitals to the police departments to the CPS officers to the foster care to the social workers, all of them are complicit. All of them. This is wickedness.
Family separation is state-sanctioned violence. Separation is abuse. Having your kids taken away from you is abuse. Losing them to a system that is corrupt, that is not for family unification. They're for family separation, for money. I stand here today for all the parents out here that are scared to put their kids in school, scared to get their kids medical care because they're afraid of the system. So we stand here today for everybody. To demand a repeal of the Adoption and Safe Families Act, which fuels the destruction of American families by incentivizing forced adoption. I ask you, where is the justice when children are removed for minor issues? And then in the worst case scenarios, they're placed in foster care and group homes where they are starved, raped, beaten, murdered, and trafficked.
See, we experienced a miracle, brother. You're having this conversation with me because we experienced a miracle. If we didn't get baby Cyrus back, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't even know about me. And nobody would know about this story. We would be just another statistic along with everybody else. And that's the part that hurts me the most. That we're just ignorant to all this stuff until it happens to you. Because nothing is scarier to someone than to think, my child could be taken away from me at any time for any reason. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Not in America. Not in America. Well, guess what? Want to hear the worst part about this? Not only is the concept of not in America the most ridiculous concept, go around the world and travel and you want to find out the truth, it's only in America. They don't do this in Russia. They don't do this in Germany. They don't do this in Mexico. They don't do this in Canada because those countries don't have ASFA. They don't have a federal funding mechanism that rewards the states and incentivizes them to take your children.
There's a fundamental economic law, which has never been contradicted to the best of my knowledge. And that is, if you pay more for something, there will tend to be more of that something available. If the amount you're willing to pay for anything goes up, somehow or other, somebody will supply more of that thing.
Now, if somebody incentivized the Canadian government to steal Canadian kids, they'd start this over there tomorrow, brother. If they gave money in Australia or New Zealand, if somebody gave money and said, every time you kidnap a kid and put that kid in a hospital and put it in a foster care system, we'll pay for it. Cops get paid. The judges get paid. Multiple institutions and organizations all get funded. Doctors get paid. Families in foster care will get paid. Everybody's going to make money. Then they do it there too. They will do it everywhere where it's financially incentivized. But the only place where we know it's financially incentivized with a limitless budget is the United States of America.
CPS,
the trafficking operation who tried to steal baby Cyrus has dropped their case. That is because of all of you and because of the pressure that you put on. And I am proud to introduce to you right now, baby Cyrus is here to join us and say hello to all of you. Give him a round of applause. This is the miracles that you do.
Well, those people saw baby Cyrus return in 6 days. So they reached out to us. You saved your grandson. Help me save my child. And I'm reading these stories every single day. And it eventually got literally too burdensome for me. Couldn't keep it up.
It's difficult in the sense that when I see other people and I can't help them the same way I see it happen to them, it's heartbreaking because I know how it feels. And I understand how blessed we were to not have that ending, but there's not much more we could do. It's like we help in any way we can, but the whole system needs to be destroyed. That's how we can help, which is why we want to share our story and expose as much as we could with the story.
The family of baby Cyrus defied the machine that tried to crush them, but millions don't. This is your wake-up call. CPS isn't protecting children, it's trafficking them. Funded with your tax dollars, enabled by a system that bows to white lab coats. Stand up, speak out, or your family could be next. The truth is out. Go fight.
Speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, and for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Thank you.
Y'all need to go check that side out too, that Let Our Children Go. They're going to be doing big things.
What was it? The
Let Our Children Go. There's a website, and I think you can just use the hashtag, and it'll bring up content and stuff from other parents who have joined.
Speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, and for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Thank you.
If you have followed my journey for a while, you are aware that these projects are entirely self-funded. After releasing What is Treason #Traffic with JJ Carroll and initially putting it behind a paywall, I realized that this approach wasn't just un-American, it was counterproductive to our cause. To generate enough public outrage, at least 10 million people need to see these documentaries. That's why I've decided to fund the entire Operation Amber Alert series myself. No partners, no sponsors, no strings attached. But this means I'm 100% reliant on supporters to keep this operation going. At the time of recording this documentary, I am currently at a $5,000 loss on my previous film. People often question why I place #traffic behind a paywall. Well, now that you understand, I can't keep producing these films if I'm hemorrhaging thousands of dollars. This means my only income now comes from the $250 I earn monthly on X and another $1,500 for my memberships on Locals. Every dollar spent is a testament to our collective mission to expose the truth. Imagine if you could, just giving a cup of coffee. That small sacrifice could be the fuel for our fight for justice. By becoming a paid subscriber on X or Locals, you are not just supporting a cause, you're joining a movement. If we can rally 3,000 hearts to contribute just $5 each a month, together we can release a new documentary every 60 days. You're not just donating, you're becoming a vital part of something much greater than ourselves. You can donate directly at givesendgo.com/RyanMattaFilms, or head over to X at
Is that it?
Ryan Matta Media and click the subscribe button.
That's his X account. And like you can join and hit the like button and the share button, and all those things are free, but it still supports the page and it still helps provide income and get exposure and more eyes on the cases.
Yeah. But there was another site.
Any support is welcome for any of these things. You know, the slightest little things can make the biggest difference.
Yeah. There was another site you were referencing, though.
Together, we can shine a light.
Oh, it was just the Let Our Children Go. Hashtag Let Our Children Go. Here, I can talk
I don't know
to
if you
you.
noticed, but we
Oh, so it's just a hashtag?
Yeah, it's there's a website too. You can look up the website.
her braces are donated by friends of mine too.
Really?
We're making no one leaves here without a beautiful smile.
Ah,
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
YouTube
I stand
rejected
before
my
you
comment.
not
It
just to
won't let
share
me
a
type it
story,
in.
but to ignite a spark of compassion, a flame of action in each of our hearts. I want to talk about men like Bob McDonnell, an American patriot whose heart beats for humanity beyond borders. Bob McDonnell, a man whose life's mission has led him to the streets of El Salvador, not for personal gains, but to combat one of the darkest trades on earth, human trafficking. In my travels across this vast country, investigating the grim realities of child trafficking, I have witnessed the despair and the hope, the darkness and the light. Amidst the many organizations I've encountered, there is one that stands out, a beacon of true safety and rehabilitation, Mikasa Kids, led by Bob McDonnell. His organization, the House of Life, is not just about rescue, it's about transformation. Bob's mission goes way beyond rescue. He provides a sanctuary for those who have suffered the unimaginable. Women and children who are not only trafficked, but often violated by those who they should have trusted the most, their family and relatives. These survivors, all of whom have become pregnant through such horrendous acts, find not just temporary shelter at Bob's facility, but a home where they can nurture and raise their children. The transformations I witnessed in these young mothers and these children is nothing short of miraculous. The joy and happiness on the faces of these children, who knew nothing but fear and pain, is a testament to the healing power of the love and security provided by Bob's organization. Knowing where these children came from versus where they are after spending just 1 year under Bob's care. Talk about a miracle. What this man has done for these children, I've never seen anything like it. If you guys could just skip 1 cup of coffee, this is where you send your money. This guy's truly saving lives. Oh, yeah, is there anything that she would like to tell me, or anything that she feels is important that other people know?
Que es muy bonito y es un lugar muy especial para las madres que aquí pueden tener muchas oportunidades. That it's here is a very special place and it's a very good place and it's a place where young mothers can have a lot of opportunities.
Together, let's build a house of life in every corner of the world where darkness lurks, turning it into light. Thank you, and may we all find the courage to act, the heart to care, and the willingness to give. Remember, it's not just about money, it's about making a difference, 1 cup of coffee at a time. Together, we can change the world.
Wow. Well. I bet ya.
Without the S, though. It's not Apple Dreams, it's Apple Dreams.
Oh, sorry. Because it's both the same on X and Facebook, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you there, Brandy?
Wow. I think we need to have a bit of a palate cleanse.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. That one was heavy.
Wasn't it? I'm here.
How about? My brain's gone pew, out the window now. Fucked off, gone. Oh, now I did mean to say, Tyre. When I started the stream, you know how I said we could share it to your X account? It wouldn't allow me because it wasn't a premium X account. So I had to take it down. Sorry. It wasn't going to let us stream. You're muted. Nope. Oh, I can't unmute you. We can't hear you. You're unmuted.
Leah says she just heard that there's a forest fire in Dorton.
Is that far from you?
That's where she just came through, where Jim Stevens was out there smoking a cigar.
Is that a long way away from you?
It's probably Brandy, an hour from me.
She's just dropped off.
Yeah, it's probably about an hour from where I'm at. Real close to where she's at, though. It's just about 10 minutes from her house. But yeah.
So is it under control or is it?
No idea. That's just what That's just what she said.
So did you hear what I said about X?
The premium account?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that I needed to do that because it's been letting me do it. It's been letting me stream it.
No, I know. It wouldn't let me do it either. Because
I don't know.
Premium account.
It's okay. I can upload to it. I can take clips and stuff and get it moved over. I've been sharing a lot of stuff over there too.
What's the price difference in a premium account?
I don't know. I ain't never looked at it. Never needed it. It never told me that before.
No.
So,
but
I don't
that's
know.
what you need.
But I'll look at it. I'll check it out and find out what the deal is.
Do you want to explain what the funding, the Title IV funding, is all about, and how that becomes that cycle of profit, basically?
Yeah, well, we will. Not right now. Let's just let it sink in a little, and then I've got some notes and stuff for it, and some research to share about it. But we've got a couple of guests, and because the Title IV, it's not just for one person or just for the parent, foster parent. Like, people pull from the Title IV funding for many different reasons. So every time a child goes through the system, no matter what it's for, they're making money off your child.
So what is the Title IV?
The doctors are getting paid. That's what he was saying, that the doctors are getting a big kickback. Every time they call CPS, the doctors are getting a big $50,000 paycheck, $30,000 from the Title IV funding. That's what pays it. That's what pays them to do this. Pays the doctors, it pays the judges, pays the lawyers, pays the guardian ad litem, pays the child services, even people who just go in to try to get a mediator and the court to help them work out custody amongst themselves. It enters that courtroom. Guess what? Everybody that works there is going to start receiving Title IV funding on your child. Like, congratulations, you now belong to the system.
So is that something that's Medicaid, or
the government pays it? That's what it was saying, that this was set up and created by Hillary Clinton and them, and these foundations, these globalist foundations. They created this system that is just for that. And we've been finding out that they've been pulling from other programs like the Social Security program and the disability program and all these other things to feed the Title IV funding because they needed more money for more kids.
I just don't understand.
And you wonder why we're running out of Social Security benefits and why everybody's getting their disability checks cut. And something that Brandy pointed out, they changed the rules so that your disability or Social Security now counts as income and you can still receive the Title IV. So they're taking from the fund for the Social Security to put into the Title IV to give to the same people that are drawing a check on the Social Security and the disability as an income. They're also making money off your children too. But not just the family. The doctor's involved, the psychiatrist that's involved, the counselor that's involved, your school is involved. They all get kickbacks out of it. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
I just don't know anything about Title IV, where it kicks in or what it covers. That's just trying to get my head around it. That's all. So is it any kind of medical?
It's Title IV-E. There's reimbursements for travel expenses, just the care of the child for like the basic, like in-home stuff. But then it's when the officials are getting paid, it's the doctors and the judges and the lawyers and them that are making the big money off of it. The CPS workers, they get extra money when they adopt. If a child gets adopted twice in its life, they get a bonus amount. They get a bonus for displacing a child more than once in its lifetime.
Excuse me.
So I don't want to get too much further into it right now. I need a break. I need to process.
Yeah.
That was hard. I miss my kids. I miss my fucking kids. I've not seen them for a few years now. It's time to bring my babies home. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a day.
Hang on. That's fine. That's twice. Twice in 2 days I've made you cry. I'm sorry.
I've been crying all through that show, all through the movie.
It's just wrong. Fucking wrong. And I just hope that, you know, you doing this actually fucking makes a difference because, you know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's our only hope. It's our only hope.
My love to you. Hang on.
Thank you for coming. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click out. Bye, guys.
Give my love to Brandy. I don't know where she's gone. And yeah.
She messaged us now. I haven't checked it yet.
No worries. All right. Oh, there she goes. All right. It was very heavy, and we've had so much more on our list of things to get through. But that's okay. We've got plenty of time. It's not going anywhere. All right. Thank you again. Now I have just put I've pinned a link to the top of the chat because Sabrina her civil case starts on the 3rd of March at London in the Supreme Court. And I think if Brandy is able to, she was thinking of going out there to support her. She has spoken to Sabrina, and Sabrina's asked us to share her link for funding because she's pretty much out there on her own. She's been fighting this battle for 5 years. 5. Despite losing her co-defendant, Jen, under suspicious circumstances. She's stuck through it and she's seeing it out. So, yeah. She's more than earned our support, I think. So if you can either financially or, you know, in person, or even just send her a message, you know, thinking of you, got your back, we're here together. Yeah, I think that she would appreciate that. All right. Well, what's on for the rest of the week? Well, we may, if we have a chance, we may do another stream. I think we will do another stream on it because we have 2 people lined up to come in and speak and tell their experiences with CPS and a few other things as well. And later on this week, probably either Saturday or Sunday, we are going to have a fun stream for once. Yay, a celebration stream. So look out for the thumbnail. We are going to have a 2K subs stream. Yay! With prizes and guests and fun shit. All the good stuff. Yay! So, yes, stay tuned. That'll be probably the weekend, no doubt. Yay! I think we need one. Hey, I think we need one. Last time I checked, actually, we were, I think, only 12 subs off. Let me have a check. Where am I? YouTube. Oh, how do I share that? That one? No. Yeah, that one. There we go. Hey, look at that. 11. 11. Come on. 11. Click that subscribe button. 11 to go. So you can see the, since, what is it, the 28th of January, what have we gone up? Yeah, 80 subs. And that's all pretty much from exposure on Devil's Advocate. So if that's any indication from my little square of the world on the influence that they have on getting that message out, that's a good sign from me. Yeah. All right. With that, I'll leave you. Again, stay safe. If you can't be good at it. Oh, hang on, let me get rid of this shit. Remove. Can't be good, be good at it. Be nice to your mother. Because. And hasta la vista, bitches. Bye-bye.
Whispers in the shadowed halls, a judge's gavel, justice stalls. Hands that should protect, they take, turn lives to ash, left hearts to break.
But in the silence, voices rise.